Hello, 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 Squiddy Cats. I'll be right with you. Just about ready to start. See you shortly. All right. I think we're just about set here. I think. It's been a little bit since I set up my stream now. I believe I've got everything going. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone today? Alright, there we go. Let me see. It's been so long since I streamed that when I clicked onto my chat, it gave me the new chatter message. Or the little pop-up warning that happens before you engage with the chat the first time on my own channel. Hello, hello, hello. Squiddy Cats. How are ya? Long time no see. Not ultimately that long, I guess. I think the last time we streamed was Tuesday, right? That's Friday now, but it feels like it's been a while. Let me see who is here. First one in here today was Nerve. Nerve Toxin, hello, how you doing? Thank you for the love. Leopold Blaze, hello, hello. How you doing? Hawuwu Kenshi. Welcome, welcome. Kestrelia, hello, Kes. How you doing today, Kes? Somebody in my server shared that they made some rules for you today, Kes. I don't know if you signed off on these rules. Number 3 looked like it would be difficult for you to follow. Azrael Dude, hello, hello, how's it going? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Altair, hello. Nidhogg, hello. I hope everybody's having a good day. Welcome back, thank you. Floofers, how you doing? Thank you for the love. Also the Ikiki, I suppose. Matreus, good to see you. Peony Astera, hello, how you doing? Pow, hello, welcome, welcome to the stream. I hope you guys have all been having a good week. Didn't miss me too hard. I haven't been gone that long. I thought about being gone for longer, but honestly, you know what? Streaming is good for my mental health. Streaming is good, helping me to work through things, and I miss you guys when I'm gone. Somebody was talking about this the other day. I mean, I guess I was gonna anonymize it, anonymize it, but it was a post from this person, and they were also talking about it on their stream, so I'll just give credit instead. PP Slayer, who I've mentioned before, some of you know PP, was talking about this the other day. They made a post on Twitter about how it's really difficult to take a break from streaming for a lot of streamers that are doing this seriously, because they were like, oh yeah, everybody always says, oh, you should take a break and put your health first, and it's like, not that those are bad suggestions by any means, but from the perspective of a streamer, there's a lot of stuff that goes into taking a break, you know? We're so used to streaming, we're usually doing this out of passion, and there's also all these like concerns that come with taking a break, even if some of them are irrational, you know? Some streamers out there think that their entire fan base is gonna disappear if they take a couple of days off. And also a lot of us come from the workplace mentality of like, you know, some retail places will give you like 3 to 5 days max in a year to take off if you're sick. And then after that you get like written up or fired and things like that. The anxiety's real, out of sight, out of mind is real. Yeah, it's like, it takes a lot to actually take that break, and honestly for me, more often than not, it's more stressful to take a break from streaming than to just stream while other stuff is going on. But I did at least move yesterday's stream. I took a little bit of a break from content creation on Wednesday, and I moved yesterday's stream off of Thursday to today, just so I could get my head back in the right space, you know? Gotta take care of myself. but at the same time, this is also an element of taking care of myself. So it's all about that balance and figuring out when is actually the right time to take a break and when it's not. And a few of you asked how I'm doing today. I think I'm doing pretty well, all things considered. I've been working on some content creation related stuff while I've been off stream. And I've got some things I'm looking forward to here, and I've been watching people stream and things like that. So I haven't been completely out of the loop on anything, and it's been helping me to get past some stuff. Welcome to the stream, new chatter, yeah. Leo says, fair enough, do whatever's best for you. Yeah, I always have to, you know, I gotta give it good thought, because I am a little bit of a workaholic, so I always have to give the thought of, like, do I want to do streaming while I'm feeling bad because I think it will make me feel better, or because I'm anxious about not doing the work? So I always make sure I evaluate it, and that's why we, like, took some time off yesterday and the day before. But I'm back today. I think I'm feeling good. Feeling okay, at least. I'm managing to go on. And that's the important part at first. How are you guys all doing? I didn't even really get a chance to ask any of you guys about your holidays. Did anybody do anything fun? I know Pio traveled. Pio, I saw on, like, the last day of your travel, so Pio went to a beach. I don't remember if it was disclosed which one, but I saw on, like, the last day of Pio's travel there, they were like, stay away from the water. Stay away from beaches and things. I'm like, man, that's bad timing, but at least it wasn't a little bit earlier into the trip. Anybody else do anything fun? It's hard for me to think of, like, a beach location anywhere in the US that I feel like would be suitable to go to while it's winter time, but I guess some kind of work. And honestly, it's been a little bit of a hot winter. Like, even right now, it's pitch black outside. Let me see. It's pitch black outside and it's 45 degrees, which isn't warm, but it's not really like end of December weather. Recovering from the ick nerve. Me too. Because on top of everything else that was happening, I got strep throat. It first appeared as a red and swollen uvula in a sore. What do they call it? The upper palate, the soft palate, or something in the back of your mouth. And then I did get, like, it worsened a little bit. I did get the little white spots that you can get from strep and things like that, but I overcame it, I think. It's still there a little bit, but it's mostly healed up as long as it doesn't flare again. Sometimes things like that can, but at the moment it seems like it's going away. I didn't really get a Christmas myself yet, not really. I spent unfortunately I spent actual Christmas Day at the vet, but my family, who normally gets together for Christmas either like before or around Christmas time, weren't able to as early this year, so I actually have some people coming over tomorrow, and that's when we're going to be doing our gift exchange thing. So nearly a week after Christmas itself, or I guess, like, what, 5 days after Christmas itself, they're gonna be coming over and we'll hand out some presents anyway. Luffy says it's 50 in Florida, so not that much colder where you are, which is weird. Well, yeah, I guess Florida is usually warmer than the East Coast for sure. We at least get more snow. We have not gotten much snow this year either, though. Definitely, like, as the years go on, I'm more and more concerned about the state of the environment, as anybody who's paying attention should be anyway. But we're definitely seeing a clear difference with how the weather patterns behave, at least in places as volatile as New England. Like, we're used to, in my entire time growing up, we'd get feet of snow every year. And we'd have those days that would be like, you know, it'd be like 80 degrees in the morning, and in the evening it would be like 20. We have like a 60-degree fluctuation in a day. You know, that was rare, but it's been pretty warm for most of this winter so far. It's gone down to 20s a couple times here. I think like one time it went beneath 10, at least like during the day. But like mostly it's been around 30s or 40s, and we haven't really had much snow at all. Which, you know, in a way is kind of nice because no shoveling and stuff like that, but also I'm like, weather's not supposed to be like that. Now here, let me take a sip of water here for Azrael, dude. Thank you, Azrael. Al says, meanwhile, here in our country, people are wearing jackets outside at 79 degrees Fahrenheit during Christmas season. Why wearing jackets in 79 degrees Fahrenheit? Are you used to like a lot warmer than that? 79 would be never, like I'd be in short sleeves. Jacket weather for me is like 60 to 70, probably. I don't know, when you get up toward 80, it's like way too hot for me to wear a jacket. I like jacket weather most. I think if I was gonna keep it at an ideal temperature for me, it would probably be like 65 to 75, I think is my absolute ideal. Although it might have even shifted a little lower, and maybe 60 to 70 is ideal for me. Fahrenheit, of course. Nerve says 78 Fahrenheit with 68% humidity where I'm at. Yeah, that's warm too. You're wearing a jacket at 26°C. So that's like, what, 84 degrees? Hold on, let me see. 26°C to Fahrenheit. Oh no, that's 78. Where was I getting 84 from? Was I doing 28 instead? Let's see. 28. Yeah, closer. Anyway. I mean, you guys can all wear jackets around 78, 79, that's fine. I'm not gonna judge. It's just too hot for me to wear a jacket at that time. But people who've met me in person, and I think maybe I've definitely brought this up on stream before, but I am a furnace. I'm a living radiator. I run very hot. So hot that you can like hover your hand over me and feel the heat coming off of me. It's been a good thing for cold-blooded people who are in relationships with me before, because I'm great to cuddle with if you yourself also don't generate a ton of heat. But I generate so much heat. Put me under a blanket with somebody else and the entire blanket will like become this encasing of just like warmth because of the heat. And it's not like, you know, I'm not a sweater. I'm not generating all this heat and then like sweating like crazy, because for me it's just normal to have the high temperature. But it means I really don't want to put on a coat most of the time, because if I do put on a coat, all that heat that I'm releasing gets trapped in there and it gets real hot. But jackets are nice though. I do like jackets, it just has to be a little cooler for me to wear it. Pal says I only wear a jacket when it drops below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. I have panda skin, so yeah. Yeah, that's a little like closer to me. I go above 50. Like I'm not gonna be, well, actually I don't know. There's some long sleeve shirts that I'd wear without a jacket. When I was younger, I used to wear like short sleeves up until the point where it got to when I'd put on a jacket, because I didn't really care for long sleeve shirts much. Although in high school, I wore like one thing, okay? I don't know. Ages change and things like that. I've been thinking about generations a lot lately. I'm 34, so when I was in high school, it was like mid-2000s. Anybody else here who went to high school somewhere around the mid-2000s? Like, I graduated 2007. But anyway, during that time period, I was one of those kids that was like, I would only ever walk around with like a black sweatsuit. Or like I'd have black sweatpants and then a black hoodie. And just all black. And I had like a few of those black sweatpants and a few of those black hoodies. It's not like I was wearing the same piece of clothing all the time. You know, I was changing my clothes and I was washing them and things, but they were all like black sweatpants, black hoodies. Early 2010s flippers, so you weren't too far off. When I was in high school, it was like around the time that scene style became really a thing. It was like all goth, but then it was like, oh, we got goth and then we got punk, but then we got scene now who are like goth but colorful. Wiki was a cartoon character, noted. I didn't really like fit to any particular group when I was a teen, but I wasn't an outcast, probably partially because of the fact that I was like, not to pat myself on the back, okay, because I actually didn't even recognize this at the time about myself. I think, like most teenagers, I was a little self-conscious or just didn't want to think about things, but I was attractive in high school. And I was also like 6'2" already, 6'3". Like I was getting toward my max height already when I was in high school. I didn't grow too much in my later teens. So I was tall, thin, and attractive in high school. So I think that's what saved me from not being an outcast, because I didn't really fit with any particular group. But you know how like a lot of shallowness happens at that particular time of your life. So instead of being an outcast, I ended up being like just the member that didn't quite fit in a bunch of different groups. So some days I would sit with the goth kids, some days I would sit with the jocks, some days I would sit with a really nerdy table of people who'd all be playing Magic back then and Yu-Gi-Oh. I was the person who could bounce around to the different groups. And again, I wasn't saying those things to brag, P.O. I was saying those things to point out a bit of an issue, because if I was short or nerdy looking or like conventionally unattractive at the time, I probably would have been bullied and like not allowed in any group because I didn't quite fit any of them, but instead I got the lucky end of the stick. Haru says, I was friends with each and every group too. Yeah, I was like kind of a nice way to be, although sometimes it was weird when like the teachers who like knew me as the student who got all the good grades would see me in the halls being like approached in a friendly way by like the known drug dealers in the school. And I'm like, I'm just easy to be friends with, okay? I'm not like associated with their group. Hey Froggy, how's it going? Matreya says, I belonged to no group, no one wanted to be around me. There's like a thin line between where I was at and that, I think, Matreya. I fit a weird stereotype because I was always dressed in the black sweatpants, the black hoodie. I was tall, I was attractive, and I was also very silent. Alright, I didn't talk to anybody. I went to sort of an alternate school before I went to high school. And like most of the time I just sat in a room by myself doing my own thing or keeping my head down, and people would just approach me out of curiosity. Because I think like the stereotype term tall, dark, and handsome was like at its popular peak back then. Everybody always threw that around. And then also there was this other thing about like the exchange student or like the foreign student or the new student or whatever it was, the transfer student. That was very popular back then too. So when I went into high school, it was from this alternative school first. So I fit those weird stereotype bills, and also I was like the transfer student. I was the new kid. So people were curious. I really think that's like a very fragile state, because everything was very... Well, everything was very shallow. So it would have taken only to tweak a little variable here or there for me to have been in a really like outcast position, I think. But you know what? I'll take it. Also, no denying, not to make anybody uncomfortable here if you're part of the same group that I belong to, okay? But no denying, too, that I was a white, straight man, and, like, the further back you go in terms of years, the more of a benefit that is. It still is in today's society. But, like, in terms of people's just automatic impressions of you, it's problematic that this is the case, but I'm just recognizing that I was also at a point of privilege in terms of, like, being in that group, whether I wanted to or not. Which makes a difference, too, or made a difference. You know, we all hope for that to start going away, but realistically, the only people who think it's gone away now are the people who don't have any real reason to look at it close enough. I'm gonna scroll up slightly because I know I missed people's stuff. House said, though it all depends on the humidity, because one time I managed to go around San Francisco in 36 degrees Fahrenheit while wearing shorts and a normal shirt, but I feel like I was dying at 46 in Hong Kong. Forgot my jacket. Yeah, it really depends. I mean, if it's windy, that makes a huge difference. And the humidity makes a huge difference. If it's hot, I mean, if it's humid and the air is still, you can wear very little. If it's cold and the wind picks up even just a little bit, you're like, ah, knives, cold knives. But also, I feel like sometimes, just depending on the day, like sometimes it feels nice to be brisk. You go out in a shorts and short sleeves, and you're just like, it's cool. It's kind of cold right now, but I don't know, I'm feeling it today. I don't know why that is. Although I've never been a shorts guy. I've tried them a couple times during my life. I think there were periods where I wore shorts a little bit, but I really don't like shorts on myself. I don't like shorts on most people, to be honest, although I've seen some people who can really pull them off. It's just not in my aesthetic, so you won't catch me wearing shorts typically. Nerve says 2013 I finished high school. Okay, so none of us were like too far off here. Nerve says 6'2" in high school, feels short, man. Yeah, I was like the second tallest person in high school. Because everybody always wanted to compare height to me, so I know. Like, I've got a lot of weird, funny stories about it, but I don't know, some of them might be not right for stream. But, yeah, there was like one guy who was a little over 6'3", who was taller than me, but everybody else was shorter. Haru says, oh, I was friends with... Oh, I read that one already. We were the messengers between groups, Ricky. Yeah, we were the bicycles in high school. Haru, you and I. Matreus says, my skin color prevented it. Too dark for the Mexican side of people, too light for the black groups. And in special ed program also messes with it. Yeah. Very, very shallow and brittle, like I said. High school was rough, man. Like, any little tweak of something, you could take somebody who is like, oh yeah, you're ideal for this group, and then if you like move a dial just so slightly on their character creator in some way, they're like, heck no, you can't be a part of our group. Bleh. Heteronormativity, SMH, yeah, agreed. Leo says, I like the comfort of shorts. That's part of the reason I've tried them a few times, because it's like, it is freeing. Like, pants can suck sometimes, but they're not for me, really. No leg reveal? Not typically, no, PO. Maybe on the beach or something. I'm not gonna be wearing full pants on the beach. Although, I don't usually do it, just because, I don't know, I think it's seen as socially strange, but I'm one of those people that finds it more comfortable. And like, I'm actually talking comfort here, not like self-consciousness or anything. I'm one of those people that actually finds it more comfortable to swim in a shirt. I almost never do that, like I said, just because I feel like people think it's weird. So I usually won't have a shirt on at the beach or something like that, but I actually find it more comfortable to have it on. I don't know. I'm not sure why. I can't tell what about the comfort would be that way. Elva, hello, how you doing? It says, haha, what's a high school graduation? Hey, well, you know, I was like one of the... Was I one of... I don't remember who did, because honestly, it's not that important. What I was gonna say is I don't think, like, a number of my siblings didn't graduate high school. I did. I think one of my sisters did, and I think my other sister and my brother didn't. But it's actually not even really that important to me who did and didn't, because it's easy enough to go get a GED or whatever when you're ready to do so. And high school's stupid. A lot of public school is stupid. We don't have, like, the best alternatives right now. So I'm not like one of those, like, don't stay in school, kids type person, but, like, at the same time, those are just trauma years. Fluffer says, who's the creeper now, huh, Pio? Pio has always reserved the right to be a creeper, though. See, Pio is a whole bundle of, like, conflicting things. Never have I met anyone who, like, asks for praise so often as Pio, while at the same time meeting praise with, like, negative reinforcement. Every time I praise Pio will, like, hurl something nasty back at me. Trying to make me feel bad about myself. I'm like, are you always here talking about wanting to get praised? But, you know, that's just Pio. And Pio will be like, you're such a creeper, but Pio wants to know all your information. You just have to understand that the alien is complex. That's it. Leg reveal. You know, my legs have been on stream before. I'm pretty sure I showed off my thigh when I was cosplaying 2B. Azrael says, Ricky, are you planning to stream the next few days? I'm taking it one step at a time, but I do want to keep my end of the year stream, the big one that we've been planning. I might not go as intense on it as I was planning originally, because I'm still recovering from stuff, for those who know what's been going on. But I do want to keep that one. I feel like that's important. I feel like that's gonna, like, make my heart feel good. There's a lot of things that I want to cover on it, so on the 31st, we are gonna stream. I don't know what time it's gonna start yet. It's either gonna be our usual 8 p.m. time, or it's gonna be a little earlier than that, but yeah, we'll be here on that one. Honestly, like, the worst news has happened already. I don't want to jinx anything, so I guess knock on wood anyway, but, like, I don't think there's anything really that can shift me in such a way to make that not happen at this point. Nerve says it's the final time where the popular kids ignore you. Sit alone from my popular kids ignore you and you sit alone from my experience anyway. Yeah, it was weird going from high school to college, because I did go to college right away. I knew the college I wanted to get to wasn't going to happen right away because I was poor AF. But I was like, you know what can happen? I can go to a community college and I can take some of the humanities and the maths and the various other electives and things that can be transferable credits to the college that I want to get into eventually. So while I'm working on getting into the college I want to get into, I can take some courses and then I can transfer them there. So I did. I went into general studies right after high school so that I was taking, like, the general courses and I had something to transfer later, which I did eventually later. It worked out. But when I went into general studies in community college right after high school, a lot of the people I had graduated with were in that college too. And man, some of the most immature, like, hateable people that interrupted every class and, like, bullied people and stuff were in this college, and they were completely professional suddenly. Like, weeks had gone by, or like maybe a couple of months had gone by, and, like, we're sitting in the college and suddenly these are, like, full adult professional acting people versus what they were in high school. It was such a strange change to see. But I guess, like, especially when it's community college, you're usually only at community college because you can't afford other places. Or like, so occasionally somebody goes there if they could afford other places, but the community college has a good enough degree to get them what they want because that's just financially smart. But I think a lot of these students were in there because they couldn't afford other places, just like me. And so they don't have the backing of like their parents going in and paying for some big popular college, and they're just like, ugh, I didn't really want to go here, but my parents are making me and they're paying for the whole thing, so ugh. No, it was everybody going there by their own choice to try and do something with their lives. So they suddenly changed in the way that they acted very quickly. Leo says, ugh, too hot for me. Would it like swimming with a shirt? Betrayal says, I thought it was a high school thing until it eventually bled into my 20s. Now I realize people can't let the high school mentality go. Some people really can't. It depends. Those people I saw in college sure let it go quickly. Theo says, no reveal at all, I see. This streamer's too modest. Unfollowing. Did you not... Maybe, I don't know how long it's taken me to interact with this. I was gonna say, did you not hear the thing about the thighs and 2B, Pio? But you're probably saying that based off of the wearing a shirt swimming thing, and the 2B thing came later. Theo says, Pio only follows lewd tubers. Pio wasn't even a lewd tuber herself when I followed her. This alien. Eki, just say double standard. Pio, why are you so judgy? Alright? Listen, this is my first stream back after going through rough things. Why is it every single Pio message I scroll to here is judgy? This alien changes a little bit, like, in recent months, and now holds everybody to that standard. Just because you just became a lewd tuber, Pio, doesn't mean everybody else is, okay? Alright? I've had my streams for it. Also... what's with stealing my stream schedule, Pio? You know, when I started following Piani Astera, Pio would always stream at like 11 p.m. my time. Now I miss like every Pio stream because they're all at the same hours I stream. Pio judges creepers from experience. Now part of the experience is creepers blowing up because of Minecraft, right? Atreus says, I dropped out of high school to go straight for my GED. Like, everybody grain of salt, do what's right for you, but honestly, I think that's a pretty solid way to go, Atreus. That's what my siblings have done too. Cause like, that's still a high school degree that you can study for. It's a high school degree equivalent, and you don't have to put up with all the rest of the trauma, because they, like, I don't know if every high school experience is like pretty similar, but you have got to wake up at like 6 a.m. It's like 6 to 2 or 3, and all the teachers and staff always treat you like you're dirt or less than dirt if you're one of the problem kids in some way. You get like bullied or stuck to weird pedestals in some social structure by everybody else. Even if you're like one of the popular kids, you're expected to be a certain way. And the homework is brutal, and they're always like, oh, we're getting you ready for the real world. Let me tell you, my high school homework was worse than any of my college work. I don't know, it's just a whole, like, it's years of trauma where if you like drop out and you study for your GED and you get it, hey, you did your studying, you got to do it uninterrupted, you got to focus, you got to go without the trauma, and then you got to get a high school equivalent degree anyway. Oh man, I am a little far behind, aren't I? Elva's just like, oh, thigh? Yes, it did. Wiki was studying generals, noted. Eki, you matter? Thank you, Pio. I appreciate it. You do too, Pio. You do too. In 2 days from today, I don't know if you'll... Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to be here for this because you're doing your own thing, but the VOD will be there anyway. But in 2 days from today, I have some things to say about that, Pia. I do want to say you have been nah, gotta not get gushy about it now, though. Let me stop. I'll just say the quick thing of you've been a pretty important part of my 2023, Pia. Atreus is fairly certain she wants you to watch only her stream. Well, I'm not watching a stream right now, though. I'm streaming. It's the difference. Leo says absolutely the creepers help her mind and she hates it. Oh, true. I bet that would be a little agitating. Atreus says teachers will bullies to me, except maybe 2 of them. Yeah, a lot of high school teachers, I'm not gonna lie, were on power trips. Like, they power trip hard. Like, not all high school teachers, not all policemen, all right? But there's a couple fields out there that seem to attract a lot of people who just want a power trip on people. Like, they probably went through some things in their life and then they just want a power trip. And it felt like high schoolers were like that. Feels like a lot of policemen are like that. Feels like a lot of people at some of the places like the DMV and stuff are like that. I just hope everybody gets past that eventually. Elva says, gonna have to go until my internet stops acting up, Ricky. See you later. See ya, Elva! My internet's been a little weird lately, too. Or at least, like, Twitch has been. Like, I don't know if anybody else has been having this issue, but I've been on some streams lately, and they've been freezing up, like, every couple of minutes, and they'll just, like, stay in perma-load, so I'll either need to pause and press play, and then sometimes they freeze up again after a few more seconds, or I have to do like a hard refresh on the page for it to come back and play for a little while, and that's been happening fairly often. I swear that the 7TV plugin messes with my Twitch, like, massively. That's what part of the reason I wasn't using 7TV at first. And then even when I brought in 7TV for you guys, I didn't have the plugin installed on my browser for a while, because it slows down Twitch. Every time I go to like click the emote button on anybody's page when I have 7TV installed, it like freezes the whole stream and any other stream windows I have open, and it loads and then starts playing again, and I'm behind unless I refresh or like pause and unpause. Every time. I don't know why it's so rough. And it's Chrome. I feel like a lot of people are using Chrome, but I don't know. Hunter, hello. How's it going? We're just having like random catch up and rants today. I don't know if there really is any particular theme to tonight's stream. I just needed a stream that I came back and talked to you guys, especially because I want to keep the 2023 year-end review stream in place. And I didn't want that to be like the first one I came back to after stuff. But Trey says this wasn't just high school. This was late elementary to college. So I don't know anything about pre-high school, really. My school situation was weird. I went to the very end of kindergarten and I went to first grade. I never went to second grade. After first grade, I was brought home and I was done. I had homeschooling done. And honestly, my parents only really homeschooled me for like the first year of being on homeschooling. After the first year, they kind of just like were hands off. They were like, you can just have your day and we'll encourage you to be like to do learning and stuff like that, but we're not gonna like give you a curriculum. And the only time that there really was something that we had to do was at the end of the year. We always had to submit something to the school board to prove that we were learning and things like that, because you have to do that for homeschooling. And honestly, it worked out, because I did not go back to school. Like, I went to that first grade, like I said. I did not go back to public school until high school. All right? And I had so much more of a drive to learn. And my grades were so good compared to other people. And like I said, my parents were hands off. It's not like they were amazing teachers or anything like that, because they didn't teach me for any of those times up. They never taught me any like algebra or this or that. They just encouraged me to take my days and be productive and do what I wanted. And you know what? Turns out the human brain wants to learn. Turns out if you aren't having things shoved down your gullet constantly, you're actually curious about the world. Turns out not learning about the Mayans every single year from like elementary to high school isn't that harmful. and I hated high school when I went back into the public school system, but I was really good at it, and I graduated in 3 years instead of 4. So I didn't really experience most of the public school system. I experienced first grade, and then I experienced 3 years of high school, and that's it. Atreus says, I honestly blame the system for allowing people who don't want or like to teach into the schools. Yeah, that's a big thing too. A lot of people who become teachers, and you know, I have respect for teachers too, okay guys? I'm not trying to throw hate at all teachers here, I'm just talking about the bad experiences out there, including some of the ones I've had, and there are a lot of them. There are a lot that should not be doing it. And I've come to understand as I got older too that a lot of them were people who tried to succeed in their field and didn't really like it. Like they might have gone to college for something, and then they went into their field to do that something and they didn't like the work, or they weren't good at it and they couldn't keep a job or whatever, and they're like, well, what am I gonna do with this useless degree? I learned how to do this thing and I don't like it. And so they go to teach it. They're like, well, if I know how to do it, but I don't want to do it, then I can become a teacher. And a lot of positions were filled that way. And so it's people who are already kind of like jaded and angry with the world, and then taking things out on on the students. Nerve says, I wouldn't be a reliable indicator. Australian internet is trash. I have 7TV and it's perfectly worked for me so far. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot of like unique Twitch experiences. Like for a long time, Jose, and I think this might still happens for him, but Jose just like, my stream would not run right for Jose. Nobody else's stream. My stream would not run right for Jose. On Twitch, it would constantly like load and pause and load and pause. And like he tried all these different things, but it's just for some reason my stream wouldn't, and it wasn't happening to anybody else. There's just like weird differences that shouldn't exist there with some people's browsers and internet. Even if you clear your cache out, even if you make sure you've installed the same version as other people and you got the same plugins, I guess there's probably some like combination of other things you have on that shouldn't be affecting each other, that just do in strange ways, because people are not perfect at programming, myself included. I'm a programmer for my main job. Hunter says, nah, Matt is right. I've had teachers who just hated coming in and would either give up on you or constantly think you're you just constantly think you just shit their kid. The system is messed up. Yeah, you've been in public for 10 years, but you did homeschool in the last 2 years and it was awesome. Yeah, homeschooling, like, I'm a fairly pro homeschool person. It's just like, it's not very carved in stone how to do it right. And even though it turned out well for me that my parents basically like took their hands off the wheel and said, you know what, we're gonna help you out when it comes to the end of the year check-ins with the school board, but for the most part you're on your own. I do think the brain would usually seek out education, but it can go in a different direction too. And the brain could seek out video game groups and internet forums and and streaming and things like that. And those are all nice things. Those are all great things to have in your life, and that can be good for your mentality. They can be bad for your mentality too, depending on what you do with them. But if you fill your life up with other things so much so that your time is all taken up and you don't really like learn stuff, then you can be behind on a lot of things. If you start somebody off on that case when they come out of like first grade and then just let go into high school, they might have never learned how to multiply, or even like higher adding and subtracting. Not that math is even necessarily the most important thing to know how to do these days, because everybody's got a calculator, but it's got to be balanced a little bit, I think. There are some things that you should try to make sure are happening if somebody homeschools, but I think a pretty hands-off approach worked for me. But have the mitochondria been liberated? Who's trying to liberate mitochondria, floofers? Hunter says, my god, to think my biology teacher taught something useful. Void says, hey everyone, I've been lurking until now, letting the stream play but not watching or listening, doing paperwork. Ah, paperwork, so fun. Job related, kind of. Well, I if it's for something that you're hoping to have happen job related, Void, then I wish you good luck. If it's just like red tape, kind of you have to do the paperwork but it's not going to benefit you in any way, sorry. That always stinks. I had to do some of that recently because I've ranted about my job before a couple times on stream because it's been rough recently, but in the month before Christmas, before the break, they fired about 80% of the people on the team that I was in, and a lot of other teams related to my team. So there was only 4 people kept from my entire team. Only me and one other developer, one tester, and then our Scrum Master person, which is not enough for a software engineering team. And then they started hiring on some cheaper contractors. And because they fired off so many of us and wanted to hire on so many of the cheaper contractors, they had to make the cheaper contracting group the primaries on the project. So they're like 51% of the project when we're 49, which makes us the subcontractors in this particular agreement. So being subcontractors meant that I went from contractor to subcontractor and suddenly had to turn in a bunch of paperwork that I already did when I first got this job, but I had to return it in, refill it out, make sure everything was more up to date and stuff, because I was getting added onto the project as a subcontractor even though I was already there as the main contractor at a time, which just meant that I had a ton of paperwork to do and it had zero benefit for me whatsoever. It was just redundant paperwork, and I don't know why they couldn't just use the stuff that was still on the file, except I do kind of, because it was government related work, and the government loves to do the same work a million times and be really inefficient. Working with the government has been brutal. Maitreya says that's a bad teacher, then there's... Oh, I didn't get the context for that. Void says, thanks for the luck, it will benefit me if things go well. Oh, good. That's the better kind, at least. Haru says, biology was not my favorite subject, but it did teach me enough to correct some student doctors I've met. Yeah, biology was okay for me. I had a really rough biology teacher. I remember his name. I won't dox it. I was gonna say it, but you know, I've already given a lot of information about myself, so don't need to dox more. But yeah, he was known for giving just like a ton of homework. He was one of those professors, and this happens way too often, right? That they start talking out loud, calculating how much time that you should have in your day to be able to do homework. So they're like, you got like 8 free hours in your day after school, and I'm only giving you about 6 hours of homework. Even if you fill up those entire 8 hours, then you should be doing it extra well because you had more time, but you could even do it faster than the 6. And I'm like, man, do you forget the fact that I'm in like 7 other classes? Every teacher seemed to be like that. They all seem to forget the fact that you were in a bunch of other classes at the same time. They're like, I'm barely filling up your entire night with homework. I'm like, yeah, so is everybody else. Barely filling up my entire night with homework. And also, you remember, I have to like eat and shower, and like sometimes I have chores and stuff like that. You know, I don't necessarily have 6 hours per class that I can spend at home, but hey, here were some professors being known to do that like all the time, and my biology professor was one of them. So I hated the course, but I did all right in it. The courses that I actually got a really bad grade in was chemistry. Chemistry was really rough for me. I mean, it wasn't a really bad grade, but for me, I was one of those all A students, and I got like a C- in chemistry, so take it or leave it. And also geography, I was really bad at. History, I've always been bad at, but I could at least like memorize it long enough to do tests and things. Like some of my weakest subjects that you could ask me about that a lot of people have general knowledge on are biography. Not biography, geography. I mixed biology and geography. Geography and history. Like, you could ask me some pretty basic history questions that you feel would be, like, fairly obvious, and I'm not gonna know the answer. You could ask me about some states that, like, border Massachusetts, where I live, and I might not know the answer. And you try to, like, put me on some quiz about... put me on a GeoGuessr or something like that, and it would be an absolute mess. But I just haven't ever had to know that information. Could never be fake being sick as a kid, Hunter. You're half your family are medical professionals. I see. Yeah, I didn't fake being sick too often. I did it once or twice, but one of the times I was being suspected of possibly faking being sick was the time that my appendix was exploding, and at least my mother knew enough about what appendicitis was that when I described it the way I did, she's like, okay, I think it's for serious and we should probably go in somewhere. My appendix started to rupture back in high school. I didn't quite get there before it started to rupture, but luckily it didn't do like the explode thing that some people did. It just like started to leak, which is pretty dangerous too. But I got in there. I think appendicitis is still the worst pain that I've felt in my entire life. Because again, I was going through the rupturing of it too. So I don't think there's been anything that's come to that point yet. And hopefully I don't have to face too many other pains that get similar, because that one was bad. I've got a pretty good pain tolerance typically, but yeah, that one was rough. Says, chemistry was fun for me. I know how to create sugar crystals. Are we talking about like high school chemistry though? I don't know. I feel like my chemistry teacher was also lame. I've always seen all these things on like TV and heard stories from other people's like chemistry courses and things that made it sound cool. Like the professor was always this Bill Nye type of person that was making things explode, or like filling the ceiling with like chemical bubbles, or like had all these neat experiments, and mine just liked to draw diamonds not on or hexagons on the board and throw marker tips at people who seemed like they were falling asleep. We just didn't do anything interesting. The best thing that I got out of my Bunsen burners were lit. The best thing that I got out of my chemistry course, actually, was this even chemistry? My brain says it was chemistry, but like the context of it seems like it should have been biology, so I don't know. But I'm gonna go ahead and say my chemistry course. It could very well have been biology, so switch it out for either. But the best thing I got out of it was an embarrassing story I've told people before, where like we were gonna examine our skin cells from inside our cheek, right? Under microscopes. We wanted to look at cheek cells, so we did that thing where you take like what are those Q-tips, and you like swab the inside of your mouth a little. You like rotate it back and forth. You put it on a little tray and you look at it under a microscope, right? Well, we were starting that class, and there was this girl who came in late to the class, and the teacher gave her a hard time. She kind of like rushed in a little bit, but she was way after the bell, so he gave her a hard time, like most teachers did when people were late in high school. And we get into doing this thing where we're looking at our cheek cells under the microscope, and she's like, mine's moving, mine's active, and he's like, that shouldn't be the case. And he looks at hers, and he had to stifle a laugh because it was a sperm cell that she was seeing. Having come into the class late in a hurry, apparently he now knows what she was doing before class, and that's why it was moving around, and she didn't recognize that. And so that was a really embarrassing moment for her. But it's probably the best thing story-wise that came out of one of those classes for me. But I'm like, man, I would want to quit that school. Like, I just want to not be there anymore. Honestly, not the worst thing I heard or seen. Oh, certainly not for me either, but the worst things I've heard or seen would not be appropriate for me to talk about on Twitch. This was just an embarrassing situation for high school. Because also remember, it's a bunch of high schoolers. And the fact that I know it's a sperm cell means that it was said out loud, because it's not like he invited everybody around the class to come and look. I don't remember if he said it out loud or if somebody else like peeked in afterward and saw it. But yeah, the class knew what it was and put two and two together about her coming in late. And high schoolers and anything related to sex or anything like that is ridiculous. It can be ridiculous. How's it going, Jose? Hello, hello. Her favorite flavor of lollipop is D. Matreus. I can't quite remember where that originally came from. That wasn't a Dr. Phil segment, right? That wasn't like the opening scene to like a Dr. Phil segment thing. Or it was something like that, some messed up scenario, but I remember what you're referencing. It's just been a while. Hunter says, that's what I mean. Had a couple stories of some hallways in our school. Oh yeah, mine too. There was the hallway in my school where, like, during the homeroom hours, they would do their little, like, at-school news stuff. So they had this little, like, newsroom, and it would go over the TVs around the school and stuff. But after, like, the homeroom hours, that hallway was, like, basically not used, because the only things down there were really, like, the recording rooms for that. And a couple clubs would use them after school, but during the day, mostly it was just a dark hallway. And a lot of things happened in that dark hallway. And it was known for that, and I don't know how people could get away with it, because I feel people were so bad at keeping secrets that the entire staff had to have known too, but, well, it is what it is. Vine? Was it just a Vine thing? It wasn't like... I thought it got, like, clipped from something and like circulated as a Vine or meme, but I thought it was originally from something. What is this about people finding marines in someone's mouth? I was saying, Jose, in my I think it was chemistry class, although that might have been biology given the circumstances, we were gonna examine our cheek cells, and this girl came in late to the class, and the teacher scolded her. But then, like, when we all took a swab of our mouth and we're looking at our cheek cells underneath the microscope, she was like, mine's moving. And the teacher was like, that's not right. And he looked in there and it was a sperm cell, Jose. And that was a very embarrassing moment for that girl. Because now we all know why she came into class late. Thank you for the subscription. The subscription. 6 months in advance, Jose. Jesus. I appreciate that. Hunter says, no, Eki, when I say hallway, I mean people's hallways, or the modern term is someone willing to take a lot of wieners. Oh, I see. I mean, same diff. I think we called them bicycles, not hallways back then. It's like because everybody could take a ride. It's like it's the school's bicycle, you know? But the hallways in my school, the actual hallways, were the places where those activities took place. Hunter says finally sent 3 others and they weren't taken well. Just so you know, Hunter, when you send those in automod blocks, I see all those messages, so you don't necessarily need to try posting a bunch. I'll either read them and clean them up, or they'll get allowed by a moderator. The class bicycle, yeah. Jose was similar years. Jose says, not sure why it didn't allow me to put a message, but thank you for this fun stream, Wiki. Thank you for the 6 months of subscription, Jose. And also the 35 prior to that. I was just talking about some of the issues that Twitch, or my stream specifically, gives you. Because I was talking about the fact that 7TV for me, for some reason, even though I got the current updated Chrome, I got the current updated 7TV, anytime I use it, it like freezes up Twitch streams. Every time I click the emote button, it freezes up. Everything has to load. I have to do like force restarts and things to get it to work. It's just a weirdness of my browser, just like it seems to be that you have a weirdness with my stream, where it regularly likes to make things not work for you. One of which was the stream loading for a little while. And the other is that it often doesn't like to let you actually put TTS messages in your subscription for some reason. One more and it's 3 years of subscription. Yeah, for sure. That's crazy. Let me look. I'm gonna do a lot more of a deep dive into my, like, stuff related to streaming on our next stream on Sunday, because we're doing the 2023 celebration. So I'm gonna look more into communities and things like that. But let me look. Let me go into, where can I find it? I know there's some sort of analytics here where I can see like my founders. Let's see, probably under community, maybe not community. They move things around constantly. That's like most updates these days, you know? I remember when updates used to be quality of life increases. I think updates these days are just like, oh, we've moved a couple of the buttons you always use around and hid them under other submenus somewhere, and we're not going to tell you where. Good luck finding them and getting used to it again. Every single update, I swear, unlike everything. It's so obnoxious. I never know where to find anything because I click the place it used to be and it's gone. All right, let me see. Communities, activity, maybe? No. Follower list? No. It's not in roles. Maybe it's in, maybe I can get it from the overview in my analytics. Let's see. Doesn't look like it. So you used to just be able to click something in the community tab to see like people who followed you and when, and who had like founders badges on your channel. But it's not really here anymore. Probably somewhere still on Twitch. They probably just hid it more. Let me see. Twitch, how to see founders badges. Visit subscription analytics within your revenue analytics. Okay, hold on. That's a big change. See, they like to hide it under things. Okay, revenue analytics. There is not a subscription analytics here. Let me go into earnings. Oh, here we go. Earnings, subscribers, view details. founder badge holders. So I had to go to revenue, earnings, subscribers, view details, and then I can see founder badge holders. Yeah, that's intuitive, Twitch. Thank you. Let me see what you guys are saying. What the heck? All right, let's see. The old hot dog roller. Was that another one of those names, Betrayus? I hadn't heard that one before. Betrayus says everyone has Cheeto dust on their fingers and she helps them stay cleaned. The corn dog machine? Oh. Oh. Betrayus. Did I actually send this Twitter post? Let me see. There was a Twitter post I was gonna send. And I don't know if I did it or not because it was stupid. Okay, good, I didn't send it. Good, I didn't post it. Thank you, me. Sometimes you think about posting things and you don't. I'll write it here. I'll write what I was gonna post earlier here. I don't know why this was gonna be my status, or like my tweet, but this is what I was gonna post, and I'm like, has anybody said anything about it? Like, I don't know why I would post that, and luckily past me decided not to. Let me catch up here a little bit. Philipper says, I've heard a lot of things called a lot of stuff, but I never heard bicycle used that way before. Oh, really? The Mississippi mudslide? Wait, that's something else? Okay, Jose. School's trampoline. School trash can. The sink. Man. Is that like one of those things where... I almost got 18 plus here for a second. I gotta watch out. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not marked as an 18 plus stream right now. Jose says it used to be called Jumpaline until the bicycles claimed it. Oh. Examiner of the student body, the one who takes roll call, perfect attendance award in the field of social studies. Betrayus! What? Stop it. Jose says he who should not be named. Wait. How is that relevant? Betrayus says I can get real grimy, I'm just being nice. Okay, fair. Nobody had anything to say about my potential tweet status that I was gonna put up. Is a corn dog a beef Wellington like? You know how we call things roguelikes and getting over it likes and souls likes, and or I guess it's a Foddy like now. Well, I wanted to know if a corn dog was a beef Wellington like. What do you guys think? Pick up, how's it going? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. You know what beef is, but you don't know what a Wellington is. Oh, I see. I see. Beef Wellington is not something I've ever had, and I'm not even sure I've ever been in a restaurant that was serving it. But it's an upper class meal. Michelin star kind of thing. It's the ghetto beef Wellington. The sinkhole at the center of town. Livers. Trina says, I mean, hot dogs are made with pork or turkey. Beef is just one subset of hot dogs. So let me see. Actually, you know what? Let me post this tweet. I'll just post it. I'll see what people say. Post it in the middle of stream. Here we go. Is a corn dog a beef Wellington like? Posted. There we go. You're welcome, future me. But when I went looking to see if anybody has asked such questions before, I encountered an image. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. Copy link. Well, let's open up Opera. Alright. For your consideration, the Wellington family. Alright? Beef Wellington, the grandfather of the Wellington family, refined, nuanced. 1885. This is what a beef Wellington looks like. Big thing of beef surrounded by a sort of crust casing. Hot Pocket, the hipster of the Wellington family, loves new tech, often seen to be mixing things up with cheese. 1983. Pigs in a Blanket, the uncool aunt of the Wellington family, or the cool aunt, excuse me, typically shows up for parties and holidays, but otherwise keeps to themselves. Corn Dog, the black sheep of the Wellington family, typically seen at children's parties trying to fit in, might be a serial killer. And then Pop-Tart, the vegetarian of the Wellington family, frequently in a hurry most mornings, sometimes too busy to be warmed up. It's upper class. It's typically considered so, yeah. Jose says, am I too poor to understand this reference? Too poor, or you didn't watch Hell's Kitchen. You didn't watch Gordon Ramsay shows. Gordon Ramsay's like 90% of the reason I know what a beef Wellington is, because he serves beef Wellington at like all of his establishments always. So that's the only place that I always hear reference to beef Wellingtons as I watch like Hell's Kitchen and stuff like that. Azrael Dude says, time to stretch. Will do. Give me just a second to catch up. 72 says, happy to find a new stream finally. Now, hold on a second, 72, but like, you're not new here, right? You aren't new here. Hold on, let me look. You can't be new here. I thought you were just a name change. Hold on a second. I'm calling you out on your bluff. User, pickup 72. Messages 367 in this channel. Men 76. What you trying to pull? Flipper says, what due to the limestone bedrock of Florida there are many sinkholes? Guru says it's just beef and pastry dough. Is it considered upper class in America? Also, I've seen this. Yes, it is. Haruru. It's usually like $60 or more to get a beef Wellington, like a single beef Wellington. I've never had it. I've never bought it for anyone. I'm not sure I've even ever been in a restaurant that served it. But yeah, it's considered upper tier. For some reason, you know, a lot of those things are silly. When I was a kid, Spam was considered like poor people food, and everyone was like, that's disgusting. Like meat in a can? Gross. Give that to the poor people. Ugh. And then even a lot of poor people were like, oh, I don't want that. I mean, my family liked it, but I always felt a little weird about liking it because of its reputation. These days, everybody's like, ooh, let's put Spam in our like upper class cuisine. Let's fry up some Spam. It's gonna elevate our meal. I'm like, yes, it's actually getting the reputation it deserves. Azrael Dude, thank you for the lurk. I appreciate it. Pop-Tart, yeah, I feel like Pop-Tart doesn't belong here, even if we're humoring the other ones. Pop-Tart might be more of a ravioli, you know. You can literally make it for 1/10 the cost to buy it. Oh yeah, very easily. Kaku, hello. Thank you for the demote me, daddy. I was wondering who did that. I was like, I'll scroll down and find out. Hunter says, I've been to a lot of places, they never have it. Yeah, it's rare unless you go to somewhere fancy. Jose says, I own a TV, but it's about 90% off unless I want to play video games. I watch Hell's Kitchen on, what is it on? It's not Netflix, Hulu, I think, right now. So I use my computer to watch all that, Jose. How you doing, Kaku? Nope, that ain't me. Pickup. Hey, you know what I did though? I used the /user command that a streamer can use. All right, and I typed /user pickup 72. to see what data pops up about you. And I get a little pop-up. You know, some people don't know this. We can click into your entire message history and see the things that you say. We can see how long ago you joined. We can be creeps if we want to. 76. I can scroll up slightly and see you talking about liking men in your chat history. You can't fool me. You can't get one over on the streamer. We have powers. Hunter says I'm gonna check with Pio in a sec. Spam is amazing. It is. Our lobster, it used to be prison food. Yeah, that was a little bit, that was before our time, but true. True. Salmon. When was it, like medieval times? Even you go back to medieval times, salmon was the food of the poor people, like the poor class. What do they call them? What's like the peasant? There we go, the peasant class. Salmon, because all the rivers had all the salmon and it was like the common fish. So they'd get these like nice giant cuts of salmon and it's like, what poor person food. Gross. Haru says I watch Hell's Kitchen on Redacted. That's fair. Jose says only online subscription I have is Crunchyroll. There are so many streaming services nowadays that cable's actually looking cheaper. Sometimes. You also have like 100 Twitch subscriptions. I know you too. I'm calling out everybody tonight. Void says, imagine it tasting kind of like bologna, am I right? What, Spam? I actually forget what bologna tastes like, I'm not gonna lie. I've been a vegetarian for 25 years. Some foods, completely lost to me now. I know I used to like bologna when I was a kid. Still not you, it's lying. Okay, 72. Alright, 72, I'll let your, I'll accept your new life. But also, we're a follow... we're also a follower-only chat, 72, so if this was a new stream for yourself, you would have had to have followed. And then started talking. Jose says you don't pronounce the L, so it's like salmon. Oh, I don't. I don't. Yeah, it's salmon. Some people kind of pronounce the L. You'll seldom hear somebody like heavily pronounce the L. Oh yeah, salmon. 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 How do I unsub from here? I feel so attacked. Sorry, Jose. I only attacked you after you subscribed for 6 months solid. I have the same deal. I had to like recently go into my subscriptions channel and I had to switch them back because like I like to support so many people on Twitch. So is salmonella pronounced salmonella? No. Salmonella is not... Oh, you say yes, Matreus? Do you say salmonella? It's not necessarily pronounced the same as the fish. It's not based on the fish either. I had it all planned and I failed. Sorry, 72. Do you want me to ask what pickup 72 meant? It's good to see you though. Oh, you tried to unfollow and follow again for the notification, but it didn't work. Yeah, I think you need to like unfollow for a day or something. However, it seems to have affected the follow count. You know what, guys? Like, I'm gonna point this out, not because I want to complain about follower count, but because I want to complain about this darn cursed number. You know what? We hit 969 followers about 10 days ago or something. Actually, no, more than that. So, close to that, but like around 10 days ago or something like that. Every single time we streamed, we were averaging 3 to 5 additional followers. Okay? We were getting 3 to 5 additional followers. New people would come in, they'd join, they'd watch. Some would stay, some would go. But we were climbing. We were climbing like crazy, growth-wise. And as soon as we hit 969, people are unfollowing like nuts. And it's not you guys. It's not even any of the new people that follow. You'd think, oh yeah, maybe some of the new people followed. They didn't really like the content and they left. No, they're all still here. I can look at my follow list. They're here. You know, the people who are unfollowing, it's people who have a couple people had their accounts deleted. There's been people who who followed like a real long time ago and never showed back up on stream, so they were probably just clearing out their list. Like, perfectly understandable unfollows. There's always an ebb and flow to the Twitch follow count, because I've been streaming for 3.5 years. There's not 966 people who regularly watch my stream. Sometimes people just go back and they're like, oh, I don't even remember who this was, but I followed them some time ago. I guess I'm gonna unfollow. That's fine. I just don't know what it is about this particular number, because all of a sudden they all seem to decide to do it right at like 969. It was like everyone unfollowed to be the 969th follower. So like something about this number was cursed, because we had like non-stop linear upward growth for months. And now we have been, like, the past 6 or 7 streams, I think it's 7, we've been stuck around this one number. It's going up to 972, then back down to 966, then back up to over 970, because more people are still following. But for whatever reason, people are unfollowing too. And I'm like, man, we were trying to hit 1,000. Why is suddenly everybody unfollowing now? We had the follower goal and we were so like continuously getting up toward there. I am very thankful for everybody who's been helping get this goal up. And like I said, none of the people who followed recently have even like hit that unfollow, but like even when I started stream today, it was at 968. Now we're back down to 966. What is it about this particular time of the year that has done this? I'm getting trauma about the number 969 now. We need to break past it, guys. We need to get the follow count up to like the high 70s or early 80s, and then we'll break the curse. But for some reason, we've been stuck around this, and I'm like losing several subscribers a stream, or several followers a stream. New Year resolutions, I bet? Maybe. Like, people start to evaluate things, or like people who didn't even go on to Twitch hop back on to see what people were doing around Christmas and things like that. I think like mostly it's that stuff. Maybe streamathon, like if you want to do something really big. See, I had plans to do that. I was like, oh, during my week off from work, when I'm on a vacation, I'm gonna do like a lot of streaming. And unfortunately it couldn't happen because of the real life things. So now it's Friday on the weekend before I go back to work, and the vacation that I had unfortunately didn't really feel like a vacation because it was higher stress than my work time was. It was really unfortunate timing for all that, but at least I didn't have to deal with work on top of this. But the stream did get to suffer a little bit during this week, and I apologize for that. Obviously, I didn't want these real life things to happen, but they did, so it's just gotta go the way it's gotta go. I wanted to do like a streamathon during this. I had a couple events planned, because you guys probably heard me earlier on when I was like, it's gonna be tough to hit 1,000 before the end of the year, but I got some tricks up my sleeve. They were all gonna frickin' happen this week. I had to cancel them. I was so sad, but you know, life happens sometimes. I'll still do all my plans. All right, they're just not gonna happen this week. And you know, attempting to hit 1,000 followers by the end of the year and not quite getting there has not lost us anything. It's still grown the channel, and I'm still coming up with some real cool things to do once we hit 1,000. So we'll hit that milestone pretty soon, and then we'll celebrate like crazy. Matreus says, I feel like... Wait, hold on. I want to scroll back enough that I make sure I read everything. If they stayed, there would be trouble. And if they don't, it would be double. Matreus says, also throws random letters. Oh, that's about the previous conversation. Matreus says, I feel like the people who left today left because of this lady acting like the annual carnival. Wait, what? What lady? What are we talking about, Matreus? Is there somebody on Twitch who has made people upset at Twitch and wanting to leave Twitch? Is that what you mean? Me giving descriptions, I mean? Oh, you giving descriptions. Oh, I see. No, I doubt that lost me followers for the channel, Matreus. I don't know if you're joking or not, but don't blame yourself. But yeah, I'll be doing like, I don't really do subathons. I've done one subathon ever because I wanted to try it out. But I know you guys like subathons. For me, the reason I don't do them is because I'm like, oh, I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to rake money out of people. But like, I gotta get past that sometimes when you guys are like asking for things and then I don't put them up because I'm like, I don't want to do that to you. That's stupid. That reminds me of people who are like, I want to break up with you because I feel like it's the right thing for you. Like, I feel like I'm not good for you and I'm making this decision for your benefit. I hate when people do that. It's like, no, just you're trying to avoid any you're trying to avoid any responsibility. I've never even had anybody do that to me either. It's just a stereotype out there. Like, you're trying to avoid any responsibility for this by saying I'm doing this for you, but like the person themselves are making their own other decision. You're just taking agency away from them. So I don't mean to take agency away from you guys. I don't want to do things like subathons too often because I do feel like it's gouging you for money a little bit. But we'll do them sometimes. And I think it's been like almost 2 years or more, in fact, since I did a subathon. It was more, wasn't it? Because I think when I did the subathon, I was FleshTuber. And the Lady D... Was Lady D or 2B part of the subathon? It was a long time ago, so it's been a long time. Now I think it's probably time to do another one. I didn't want to do it like during this period because everybody's doing it right now. Because they're like, ooh, there's a little sale on subscribers, so let's do a subathon. And everybody's going to be hurting for money because all the streamers are asking for it. I hope you guys understand. If I ever release things like merchandise, or if I do things like sponsored streams, or subathons, or heaven forbid I ever open a donation thing, a donathon or something for my own needs, it's because I really think that it's either gonna benefit the channel or I really, really need it. Because I don't like asking you guys for money. People were like, oh, you should open a donathon for, or you should open a donations thing for Darius because his hospital bills and everything were so expensive. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars this week on it, and I'm like, you know what, I don't need to, so I don't want to do that. I don't want anybody to feel like, I appreciate everybody's support. I don't want people's hearts to be hurting so they empty their wallet on me when I can afford it myself. So know that if I ever do things that involve money like that, I'm doing it because I'm like, people legitimately wanted this and they wanted like a cool, fun experience. Or like, oh, let's play around with our first ever sponsor. Or it's a sponsor that I really like agree with. Or I'm releasing some merchandise because you guys really wanted it. I've still felt like my channel's too small for merchandise. I've had people asking for it for years. Ever since my sister crocheted a Squiddy Cat back when I was playing Fallout 4, I think, and I showed it on stream. People were like, I want to buy that. You should have like a Squiddy Cat plush merch one day. I just never wanted to feel like I'm trying to suck money out of you guys, Jose says I like Savathoons. I think you might have heard it wrong, Jose. Void says, everyone here should make an alternate account and follow. No, please no. I want to hit it naturally. There's a couple things that I have in mind that I could do that would definitely bring followers, but they're kind of gimmicky. And I was trying to exclusively hold off from doing them while we were doing this 1,000 follower thing, because some of them are stuff like giveaways and things that I'd have through Twitter that are like, oh, follow me on Twitter and Twitch, and you'll be entered to have this giveaway for this thing or that. Because I want to try that out. I'm in my experimental arc, so there's some things I want to try that I haven't, that like various streamers do. Let's see if I can get more music going here. There we go. That I think would be fun to try out, but it will bring in a little bit of like insincere follows, you know? Because some people will see a potential for a giveaway and follow and say, I'm never going to actually look at their channel, and then once this giveaway is done, I'll unfollow them. That happens from those things. That's just a natural part of it. I want to try it out at some point, but I didn't really want to like hit our milestone based on doing that. You know? And there's a couple ideas I have like that will probably bring some followers, but I wanted to see if we can hit like 1,000 first, just so I can be like, hey, yeah, our natural growth got to 1,000, you know? And then I can play around with silly little things. Because I got a lot of experimenting I want to do with this channel, and it's all like out of passion and fun. It's just like ones that would mess with the stats a little, like the follow stats. I wanted to hold off until we got over 1,000. Does that make sense? I don't know if like the way I like to do these things always makes sense, but it's just what my brain wants to do while I'm trying out the stream thing. Hunter says you don't have the excuse of I want to be independent. What do you mean by that, Hunter? I think I lost the context for that because I blabbed for too long. Andrea says, like to avoid responsibility? Join Twitter X today. I don't like... Twitter has so little purpose now. I never really liked Twitter in the past or anything, but for a little while I joined Twitter and I was growing through networking on there like crazy. And these things seem to happen so often, and I swear I've made this joke on the stream before, way before it happened to Twitter, and I feel like it was Matreus here who joked back at me and was like, you gotta stop joining things. Maybe I made it about Destiny or something else, some other joke, but I swear, like, there'll be things that exist for so long, so many years, that I never take a part in, and then as soon as I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try this thing out, I'll join it, and suddenly it will do some kind of big update that just ruins it. Or makes something about it so much worse than it was, and everybody complains. I feel like I've timed up with that so often, because I joined Twitter and started doing the Twitter game, how you're supposed to do it, and I was growing by over 100 people a day sometimes, follower-wise, on there. And networking like crazy, and I met people like not Twitter. I met people like Pio through Twitter, and it was amazing. And then Elon bought it and unplugged a bunch of things and fired a bunch of people and said he was getting rid of the bots, and somehow they like quadrupled in number. And I have not been able to grow 10 followers since he took over. And I was going up like more than 100 a day for a little while. Twitter does not work for networking anymore unless, I don't even know if this is true because I haven't tried it, but unless you go try to buy Twitter Premium, I hear it boosts you a little bit, like the paid subscription, to try and get the check mark and things like that. And I don't want to do that. Twitter's such a rough website. It's so full of bots and like awfulness and drama and all this now that I was really just there for the networking, and it worked. It worked wonders. And now it doesn't. Just like a couple weeks after I joined it and started doing it. So I'm like, I gotta stop joining things, man. I'm ruining things for everybody else. It happened to Destiny also, and a couple other games I joined and a couple other websites I joined. As soon as I joined on, it had existed for years in stability, and as soon as I joined, it's like, we're going to destroy this platform now. You're welcome. Relationship thing, heard that excuse from an ex. Oh, I see. Yeah, I want to be an independent. Yeah. Some people go through some strange excuses to try and justify a breakup. And it's like, you don't really need to justify that hard. If you don't want to be in a relationship anymore, then you break up. And like, if it's something that's been going for a long time, it's like proper behavior to give the person a reason to like say why, so you don't leave them confused forever, because that just hurts more. But people try to be like, I'm doing this for you. It's like, well, if I'm saying I want to be in the relationship and you're not giving your own reasons for not wanting to be in it, and you're saying you're doing this for me, how does that line up? Or like independent or things like that. It's just like, don't be a coward. If you're gonna break up with somebody, it's like perfectly valid to end a relationship if you don't want to be in it. You should never feel stuck. But don't be a coward about it. Come on. Give the other person, like, give them a proper breakup. Unless, of course, you know, it's extenuating circumstances, like the person's been abusive to you and something and you want to leave. If you're able to get out of there, you don't owe them anything. You know. Let me see. Maitreya says, if I said anything like that, it would have been more about not spreading yourself too thin. You wanted to do a thing, you do it. Yeah. It says, yeah, I thought Instagram's thread thing would be better. No, it's horrible. Yeah, wait, Instagram? That's Facebook. Facebook is Threads, and Threads is horrible. Instagram's is Blue Sky. And Blue Sky's got some potential, but right now it's like very stagnant. Like not a lot of stuff is happening. You can go on to Blue Sky and you can network, but the amount of people who are on there actually doing stuff is really low. And it tends to be networking in a much smaller echo chamber of only a couple of people. So if you're there with the intent to like grow a large audience and bring that audience to like your YouTube or your Twitter or your vlog or wherever it is that you're trying to network for, you're not going to get that really from Blue Sky now, and that's what Twitter was good at previously, but it's like crummy at it now. The only reason I haven't left Twitter yet is just because there isn't really a good alternative. If one came up that was even slightly as close to what like Twitter used to be, I would leave X in an instant to go to it, because there's no growth that happens on X anymore. It keeps getting worse with every update. They keep trying to make you pay for more and more and more. And being less of a good service. There's no reason to be on there right now unless you already have an established presence. And I have an established presence on X that is higher than the amount of followers I have here. Like on Twitch I have 966. On X I have 1,352. So I'm not dropping all of those potential views yet, because I at least have a little bit of a reach on there, unless I get an alternative for it. Atreus says, I hear all the time I want to draw. Well then draw, but this, but that. Well then don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I've heard that a lot too, Matreus. I've had people in my life before who like, time and again, they'll be like, man, I so want to do this thing is my dream, blah blah blah, and I never see them doing anything toward it at all. And then at some point or another, the many forms of curiosity that I get like drive me kind of into the realm of something that they were interested in, and I like do a couple of Google searches and I start making progress into the thing that they're doing, and they're like, whoa, how'd you do that? After like 15 years, I haven't been able to make any progress. And I'm like, yeah, because you didn't do anything. Like they didn't, they sit there saying that it's their dream, and they don't make any calls, they don't do any Google searches, they don't do any reading, they don't do any schooling. They just sit there going about their normal day, thinking that eventually it's gonna like fall into their lap. The universe can't even know that you want to do those things if you don't put yourself out there. I don't understand some people's mindsets on those things, because it's like, we have so much power out there to get things done, even if you have to start really small. And trust me, I know about starting small. It took me from 2011, was it 2011? No, even earlier. It was 2008 that I first went to community college. 2008 I first went to community college. In 2017, 9 years later, I graduated from the college that I needed to graduate from to actually have like the degree I wanted and the return on investment things. And then later, 2017, I got my first job from it, because I was super poor and there were all kinds of obstacles, but I just did like one step at a time on things. I looked things up. All the information is out there. I looked things up, I took whatever step I could, and then if I came to one where I wasn't able to take that step yet, I'd be like, okay, what's my first step in being able to take that step? It's everything like can get overwhelming if you try to look at the whole thing at once. Like if you're like, oh, I want to be the CEO of a major tech company, like, and that's just your next goal, and you're not anywhere near that. Well, there's no way to say, okay, how do I just become the CEO? But if you're like, all right, to be a CEO, like I could start my own company. So, but I'm not there yet. If I want to start my own company, I need a product. Do I have any ideas for products? And then you can start, you know, if you do have an idea for a product, you can start building that and then say, hey, let's look into, you know, what I need, you know, if there's manufacturing elements, or if there'd be like team members I'd need for this, and like maybe what exists out there for people who could sponsor a startup company and things like that. If you have absolutely zero money or even zero idea on what kind of product you want to make, then you start taking steps at a lower level. You always gotta like move somewhere, and you always have the ability to take a next step. No matter how far down you are, no matter how many obstacles there are around, there's always something you can do. Even if it's not as big as you would like it to be, it leads you toward the greater thing. You take like a tiny little step, and you apply years to that mentality of taking tiny steps often, and you'll be way further ahead than you would have thought. I swear. And there's a little bit of a snowball effect to that too, sometimes. Momentum and things like that. And I'm not trying to brag either. I might sound like... I feel like this might come off a little bit as like know-it-all or braggy or pushing my glasses up. Because I'm like a decent way through. I'm still on the path. I'm not where I want to be yet. But I'm a decent way through that path just from doing these things. But like, I don't understand people who will sit and waste 10, 15 years on saying that they have a dream and never take a single step toward that. Because I'm like, imagine you took a small step every day, or every other day, or once a week toward your dream, and then fast forwarded 10 or 15 years, those 10, 15 years that you just wasted. When I can do a Google search and click on a couple of web pages and suddenly be ahead of where you got to, I just think it's a shame. And a lot of people do have reasons, but they don't usually work as excuses to span over that amount of time too. Because like, there's a lot of mental things too. Mental obstacles and stuff can be big. Then you gotta just step back a little further and say, okay, how do I get myself to overcome this? You know? People with determination at any level of obstacles can get things to happen. Even the people who have no limbs that want to paint, you know, paint with their mouths. But I hope I'm not making anybody feel bad, because I know that in this world it's very easy to end up behind where you want to be productivity wise, and especially like on the internet, the internet is made to highlight the people who have done it the best. Like, all the people that have the most views get pushed to the top, and the people that got the most views are the people who are doing things the best, and they're also end up being the ones that make the most money. So, you know, the internet is a rich get richer situation as well, and so the thing that we look like we have to compare ourselves to are all the best people out there, because those are the ones that we saw. But that's not who we should be comparing ourselves to. Anyway, let me scroll a little bit. I'm ranting and I haven't read what you guys are saying. Let's see. Hunter says, just have the tits to tell me straight. Yeah, exactly. We're on the breakup subject because I've been talking for a while. Jose says, that one baffled me the most. I've heard I forgave myself for cheating on him, but we couldn't make it work. Yeah. Like, maybe there is an element of needing to forgive yourself too if you realize you've done something wrong and actually hurt you. But you can't just be like, oh, I forgave myself for my crime and now everything's fine. That's not how it works. Let's see. We should bring back MySpace. Honestly, the internet was nicer back in the day. You guys are seeing all these things like Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus. All the major streaming services are now like, yeah, you know that paid subscription you bought in order to not see ads? Well, we're adding ads to them now, and we're putting a premium paid subscription that you can click on and pay even more to not see ads. But now the normal paid subscription has ads again. And then sometimes the premium has like half ads instead of none. And I don't know if you noticed, but now when you Google things, Google is becoming almost useless as a search engine unless you add extra things onto it. Like, if you Google, there will be an entire first page of like sponsored stuff that paid to be there, or AI generated content. You ever have a question and you click onto Google? You like have a little tech question, you click, oh, how do I, you know, turn my speaker settings from mono to stereo on Windows? And you'll click on some article that spends 4,000 words like describing the history of computers and what a speaker is to you before it gets to like the answer of going into your settings and switching. Because they're like AI generated like words per minute garbage that fills their pages with ads so they can make the most money off you and keep you there as long as possible without answering your question. The only way that I can get reliable responses on Google now, and I hate this, for my work, I have to type Stack Overflow on the end because that's like a programming thing. If I just have a general question, like if I want to make progress on like, oh, I want to be a VA, I can't just search what are the first steps to becoming a VA. I have to put Reddit on the end. All right? That's the Google trick now. If you want an actual reasonable response, you write out your question and then you put Reddit on the end, and you'll actually get responses. And I kind of hate that because I'm not a Reddit fan. I've never been a Reddit fan, but that's like the only way to get good responses from Google now. That's like the Google hack, is to type Reddit at the end of your search, because otherwise you're not going to get good answers anymore. You're just going to get sponsored and AI generated stuff. Even like Google Maps now, if you search for a restaurant, sometimes it won't guide you to the most nearby restaurant. Sometimes it will guide you to a sponsored restaurant. You think that sounds silly, but it's true. You'll click on there and they'll be like the sponsored version of a restaurant because they paid more money to be like at the top, and they'll try to guide you there. And sometimes they even scrub out closer versions of that restaurant. Like, you looked for Dunkin', there might be a Dunkin' next to you, but there's a Dunkin' that's like 2 miles away that was sponsored. They'll like scrub the one that's next to you off of their list and guide you to the 2 miles away one because they paid more for it. This must be frustrating, guys, to watch. I'm sorry, this is what happens when we don't stream for a while, because I'm sure you guys said all kinds of insightful things about what I was previously talking about like taking steps to advance yourself, and now we're on another hot take, and you guys are probably talking about that, and now as I scroll down, I'm gonna go back to our previous topic. I'm sorry. Here, let me catch up. It says, well, I guess because Facebook and Instagram are under the same company, that'd make sense. Are they? I didn't even know that. Unironically, yes, we should bring back MySpace. It wouldn't be the same these days, though. I don't think it would probably follow the same business models. Trey says, I've been off Twitter for a year officially now. I would be if I didn't have, like, brand value out of being on there. Jose says, you were my top friend to number 5. Hope you were happy. What, on MySpace? Hunter says, never touch Twitter. Good. Lufer says, you gotta know how to use it. I mean, yes, there may be 100 people constantly posting, filling most of the timelines, but... I mean, objectively, Blue Sky just has far fewer people. Twitter's been around for longer and it's more in the mainstream. You say Blue Sky to most people and they're like, what? What is that? So, like, it is about knowing how to use it better, but still objectively, the numbers are just way, way smaller. Like... infinitesimally smaller. I think it has the most potential out of all the ones I've seen, though. Far more than Threads or Mastodon, or what was it, Rumble was another one of those out there. I think Blue Sky, like, really has the potential, but it needs a little bit longer. It needs to get more mainstream. Probably stop being invite only would be a big part. Atreus says about Twitter, it was fun for a while, but then people got offended over everything started from shipping. And everything gets politically biased too. Twitter got really left-leaned, politically biased for a little while, and now it's very heavily right-leaned, politically biased after Elon. And Blue Sky is very left-leaned, politically biased, which, you know, even if you try to avoid politics, those always, like, mark the experiences on the app a little bit, too. Matreya says, you can even go to a library for starters and ask if you can use a program to help you start the journey. That's literally the poorest option you can take. Yeah, because libraries will let poor people in. Libraries, a lot of libraries even let homeless people in there. And then you'll have, like, the complainy guests that'll go up to the front being like, why haven't you kicked them out? They're not even using the computers or anything. It's like, because they're just quietly sitting in their corner, and we let anybody go and just quietly sit in and read their books and stuff as long as they're behaving. They just want to get out of the elements for a little while. Come on. Like, libraries are one of the places that you still find heart a lot of times. Not always, because it always depends on who's working there. Like, one bad apple can slowly shift the mood of an entire place. But, yeah, that's a great place to go to. Even if you're homeless and you want to take the next step, you can start at a library, and I like that. I'm not a big book person myself, but I respect libraries. It says, I got a dream and I really want to do it, but I keep overwhelming myself and I need to take smaller steps to take bigger steps. And that's one of the steps, too. That's one of the mental things, and I went through that for a while. If you always overwhelm yourself and never take a step forward, and you find that you're the type that, you know, does whatever your venture's equivalent of staring at a blank piece of paper and never drawing something, then your first steps are probably, why do I do this, and how can I overcome it? Like, how can I force myself past this hurdle? There's always some way to break down whatever the previous issue was. Atreus says, nerd! I've lost the context for that, but I'll accept it. Jose says, I've got a dream cycle. I've got a dream cycle. Andreas says, the problem with the internet is it helps people get money or lose it fast. It's literally a flea market of information, and there's no indicator of what actually works. Yeah, you just gotta try things. Although, if you're a little internet savvy, you can also sort of, most of the information you find is stuff that other people have also already tried to see if it works. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So if you go looking for information and you see, oh, this thing looks, like, feasible, this sounds reasonable, then you go a little further and you search on that particular thing and see if it's worked for people, you know? See what real people actually had with their experience on there, because, you know, if you go to some influencer vlog and just take everything that they say as facts, that may lead you down a rabbit hole that won't solve anything for you. But if you take what they suggested and then you look around a little bit and see, hey, has anybody had any experience with this and how did it work, then you can get good info. And that's just going by me as a person who has literally only looked at what other people have wrote. But these are also threads and forums that you yourself can write on. So you yourself could be the person who goes in there and says, I was thinking about doing this. Has anyone had any experience with this? Was it good? If not, is there something else you'd recommend, etc.? Like, because you can always be the person that writes those, but most of the time that already exists on the internet. And that's usually part of my thing too, of like, I find the information, then I do my part to verify the information as much as possible, and if it's got a decent amount of evidence behind it, then I do the thing, and then I get my own anecdotal evidence of it. Void says, I kind of want to be an artist, as slightly more a hobby but not quite a job, but I'm trying to make steps to get better at art before making steps to make any money from it. Though trying to make money from it would probably help me do things to improve my skills. Yeah, so there, you can do both to some degree. You just gotta be honest with yourself, right? Because I don't like seeing people undersell themselves, but I've seen plenty of people who, like, they develop their skills just a bit and then they're still in a really kind of sketchy area, but they'll go on to Twitter or something, or Fiverr or something, and they'll set up something where they're like, I'll do this art for you for like $2 or $5 or something like that, which is very cheap, you know? That's not what you'd want to do for the long term. But it's like the type of person who says, okay, if I have this project set up for this other person and somebody waiting on me to deliver, then I'm more likely to do it. Or you can even go onto Twitter and be like, hey, I'm giving away like a couple of free ones of these. Who wants to have like a free version of your model drawn or something like that? And you can do it. Now, you need to understand the value of your own work. Once you start to get a little better, you don't really want to like spend hours working on something for $5 or something like that. But it can be a good start if you think that part of your learning process is being motivated by getting money or having somebody waiting on a delivery from you. Then there's ways of doing that too. Getting it going. Flipper says it's becoming cable with extra steps. 100% it is. Guru says, now that I think about it, even though AI art now has a bad rap, it could potentially help those people that are not able to paint to start expressing themselves. Yeah, I mean, hey, if AI art was in a ethically consumable place, it would be helping me too. Because I've talked about the fact that I have aphantasia. It takes me forever to get past the initial stage of my art, like the sketch stage, because I don't see a picture in my head. I'm seeing it as I put it down. So if I'm trying to draw an original piece, when I'm trying to get the pose right, it's going to involve a lot of erasing and redoing, or liquify tool, or whatever tools I have to move things around, to reshape them, to make sure the anatomy's okay. Sometimes you can use those little dolls that you can like pose them and then reference the doll and stuff like that, but it takes a lot of extra work. If I was able to ethically use and consume art AI to like give me a visual reference to start with for something unique that I wanted to do, it would be great for me too. I'm just not doing that right now because we're far from that point currently. Like, there's plenty of good uses of AI, even in the art field, even though it's very sketchy right now. Atreus says, sounds like money is the motivator when read this way. Yeah, and if it is, you can start by those things I was talking about before. Now, again, grain of salt with any of this. I'm having a nice ranting night to come back to streaming and talk to you all and get my mouth moving and my throat going. I haven't talked much the rest of this week. I haven't had my energy up much the rest of this week. So tonight's a little bit of a chaotic rant type conversation thing. It's getting my gears turning again. It's reactivating me. It's powering me back on after a while of just being silent. So I appreciate any patience with how like chaotic and all over the place this might be. Hopefully it's cool conversation. We'll be a bit more down to earth and calm and organized, I think, on our 2023 review stream that we're gonna do on Sunday. But tonight was just sort of like, let's get back into it, because it's been rough. Let's see. Jose says I said something similar to that cable's now becoming better. Almost. The commercial breaks on cable are still longer, but like, it's also free a lot of times. I mean, it's not really, but in your situation, a lot of times you can consume it for free, unless you're the homeowner. Hunter says, the piece of advice my brother gave me as a graphic designer was to start by making 3D bricks constantly, then add shading. Yeah, start with the most basic stuff, and then build up. Trey says, I have to agree to this. Hold on. That was the AI art thing, okay. The Trey says, I have to agree to this, but there needs to be someone who's willing to teach the color theory, lighting, and composition. Let's see. Haru says Reddit Q&A or Quora are the only responses I trust. I agree, but doesn't Quora have that thing where, like, if you try to click see more answers, like, it lets you see the first couple, but then if you try to click more, it's like, oh, you need an account with us. It's probably a free account, but every time I see that, I just back out and I look at Reddit or something. Void says, there are a few things honestly. Currently my main focus is shading / rendering though. I mostly want to do art for myself, so I have a hard time convincing myself to share my art for criticism. That's a tough step too, I agree with that, and I still have that little. I don't love drawing while other people look at it. And I don't share a lot of art, I do. But I'm getting more toward the point where I'm happy to do it. Because constructive criticism is very useful, but it's another mental obstacle. As I said, libraries are the last bastion of actual free services for the public. One of them, for sure, especially in the US. I was really impressed with some of the stuff I saw in Korea while I was there in terms of community things. I've talked about that before because Korea is really the only place I've gone to for any extensive period of time outside of my country. But man, they were a lot more community centered there. Nerve says, when I was doing an animation course that I never completed, I was just way too much of a perfectionist, even though I'd never done visual art before doing the diploma, and yeah, I completely destroyed deadlines and everything. That's a rough thing too. I've had to get by perfectionism because that's one of my it's one of my big tent dark traits we've talked about before. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and when you're doing some things, especially when you're learning, you gotta get past that. Like, I used to get these nice moleskin notebooks that I'm like, I'm gonna fill this with art practice and I'm gonna get good at art, and then I never wanted to draw in it because I'm like, this is a nice notebook and I'm not good enough yet. I'm only gonna start drawing in this once I get better. But it had literally been the thing that I bought to practice, and then I didn't have anything else to practice in, and then I'd end up losing the notebook after some time or something, empty, never drawn in, and without getting better from it. And especially when it comes to things like animation and stuff, you gotta especially let go of the perfectionism and let some of your in-between frames be so messy, and sometimes you even learn something from that. Like, you can tighten it up as you get better, but you gotta be like, I'm just gonna be junky at first. Esphmer! Or do you prefer to be called Pip? What do you like to be called? Thank you for the follow, I appreciate that. I'm way behind on chat, so I'll catch up in a second, hopefully. Jose says, Dreamsicle is the popsicle. I assume you mean Dreamsicle is the popsicle that tastes like orange and has cream inside. Oh, is it called Dreamsicle where you are, or are you making a joke, Jose? Because that's called a creamsicle where I am. Void says constructive criticism helps me a lot too, but I have trouble finding spaces where I could get that. Yeah. There's a really awkward place in art too. That once you get to a certain point of being like pretty good, it's hard to get criticism. Because you'll be like good enough that most people don't know how to say what looks wrong about your art, but something still doesn't quite appeal to them. But like they don't know enough about art to really like say it. So you'll mostly get responses of like, oh, it's good. Like unenthusiastic goods that are like, it's actually good, but like something to them isn't quite right. Like it's not making it pop, but they don't know how to say anything about that. That could be a tough space to be in. That's when you really need like feedback from other artists, or to be very good at like looking at other people's pictures and kind of discerning it. Lloyd says the money thing honestly probably wouldn't really motivate me, weirdly enough. My skills aren't good enough for me to charge the amount that would motivate me, and people just waiting for me to deliver would probably just stress me out. Yeah, so maybe you can, maybe the right bet would be to say, hey, I want to practice. Send me like pictures of your OC and I might choose to draw your OC for free. But like, with no promise, you don't have to tell people that their OC got chosen. No promise deadlines, no money exchanged. You'll probably get a lot of references and people who would appreciate seeing them when they're done. But, you know, there's many different options out there. Tonight being ranty has been fun. I'm glad you like it. It's not for everybody. Hey, Buddha! Welcome! I don't know how long you've been in here waiting to be noticed because I've been scrolling down slowly, but welcome. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Matreya says, I like to think that selling stuff only really works when you have a specific thing to sell. This is a definition I won't give. Well, I mean, anything can be sold to the right crowd. Twitter proves that constantly. Void says, I might share my art today to give you all a better idea of what my skills are. I'll probably wimp out of doing it, though. That's completely up to you. You know, there's an art channel in the Discord, or even the IRL pics if your art is like not digital, and you don't want to actually put it in the art channel. It's up to you. Matreya says, I'll let people watch me. I didn't like to before. Yeah, I'm getting more like it now. We occasionally do an art stream now. Jose says, I'm a go wiki. Hope you have a fun stream. I will be lurking. Thank you for the lurk, Jose. Have a good night. Matreya says, literally no pressure, but I would say don't be afraid to ask questions, no matter how simple or dumb you think it is. Yeah, exactly. Pip! Okay, Pip, hey, I've finally caught up to you, and you said you've done that with writing too. What, just stared there at like, you're like, ooh, tonight is gonna be the night that I get like this next chapter done. And you just open like Microsoft Word or whatever your go-to writing program is, and you just end up, you maybe write a chapter title and end up with your fingers hovering over the keys for hours. Maybe you click away and watch a YouTube video or like look at somebody else's writing process. You're like, okay, how did they get started? And then you go find out like 5 hours later, you're like, oh, it's time to go to bed. Does it sound like I have experience with that? Because I do. I have, I've done some writing myself. And it hurts. I've been there. Don't be John K. Don't be John K. I hope I don't know who you're referencing, Matreya. Well, it's a stress-free doodle just for fun. As post of the art I do, not gonna lie. Oh, is most of the art you do? Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to start. Honestly, like, I've found at this point in my life, I like doodles and I like sketches more than I like most finished art pieces. Because in the average artist, I think the process of going through and tightening things up with line art and coloring and things like that has a very good chance of sapping the life out of a picture, whereas a sketch is usually very like free flowing and looks like it's got movement to it, it's got life to it. It's so easy to kill that with the inking and like tightening up and cleaning up process and things like that. So it takes you getting past like a certain threshold that a lot of people don't. to get that look to like carry through to the inked version of it, in my opinion. Andrea says I actively tell people. I actually actively tell people to tell me what's wrong. Yeah. And hopefully they're in a place where they actually can and not be in that awkward part. Pip has done the SpongeBob the? What does that mean? John K., creator of Ren and Stimpy, his perfectionism ruined him. Oh, I see. And Pip, I hope I wasn't too slow to catch up to what you were saying. I definitely feel you with the writing thing. Void says, I love just doodling my characters for fun. I've been skipping line art recently, and it really weirdly helps a lot. Yeah, for like a long time it does. Line art's another technique for sure. There's ways of doing it right and wrong. A lot of line art, like people get too tight and they go too slow with their pens and they try to get it too precise, and then it often ends up ruining it. You'll see that a lot of like big artists, they'll tighten up line art on some things, but like a lot of their line art are still practiced, but like fast movements of the pen or the digital equivalent and things like that. They want to keep it like free flowing, and it's not necessarily attached everywhere. It depends on somebody's style, of course, but I'm still working on it myself. I've been doing a lot of studying of art stuff recently because I have been working on my next model. And a lot of you guys know this one here was done by Takiminata on Twitter, !model here. Gives the link to Takiminata. They did both the art and the rigging for this. Well, one of my goals for 2024 is to do the art and rigging for my next model. And that way, as the artist for it, anytime I want a new expression, or a new toggle, or a new outfit, or I want to like tighten up the tracking to match something that's exactly like my face, I can just do it. Because I'll be the one who made it all, and I'll have all the source files and all that. So like, I'm excited to play with that, to be honest. It's one of my goals for 2024. Josh, welcome. Good to see you. Josh, did you go through a name change since you were in here last? How you doing? Rue says SpongeBob had an episode where he needed to write an essay, but only came up with the hours after pondering. Man, I gotta watch SpongeBob sometime, because I never actually saw SpongeBob, and I feel like I missed out. It seems like such a gem of a show. I've seen many like SpongeBob memes. There's been so much of SpongeBob that's gone across the internet over time that sometimes I feel like I watched it, but I never sat down and actually watched the show. So anything that didn't really make its way into the meme sphere, I've kind of missed. Atreus says we can't all be pro line art artists like Akihito Yoshitomi. Hold on, let me search that. Josh says, you remember me? Really? I realize I missed so many streams. Don't worry about it. You never have to attend any streams. Like, you can disappear for 2 years and show up again, and I'll still be happy to see you, Josh. And yeah, I mean, eventually I'll get so big. I know, like, eventually. Yeah, JAW5HH. I knew it. I was like, you had a different name, but I recognize you. Yeah, I know I'm gonna get so big at some point to the point where, like, I can't remember everybody who follows. But, like, my followers all mean a lot to me right now. And I don't know who's not showing up to streams, because some people who view me like to view me as lurkers, too. They'll come by and they'll never say anything, but they'll watch. And I don't go and I never click on the user list. Like, there's some place that I can click to see users in chat, and it would show me everybody who is here, whether they were talking or not. I never click that because I like the lurkers to just be lurking in peace. So honestly, I don't know who shows up and who doesn't. You'll forget us? I don't think so. I think I won't always know the new people who joined at that size. Like, if I get into the size where I've got, 150,000 followers or something like that, fingers crossed, that or more, that some of the big ones have got. Or I guess that's technically medium size now in the Great Sphere. It's big, but it's not the biggest. If I get into that kind of like follower range, obviously I'm not going to remember 150,000 people. I think that's a little bit of beyond like the brain's capacity. But I'm not going to forget any of the people who are like my early viewers that I talk to all the time. My memory is currently too good for that. I hope I don't lose it when I get older, but right now it's good. And do you prefer I call you Jaws, Josh? What was I typing in? Let's see. Akihito. Let's see. Oh, is he? Oh, I think. Yeah, I've seen this guy's work before. I think he's also the one I've seen him do like really big, complicated ink pictures. Like entire massive scenes just like live in front of crowds before. They'll have like motorcycles and things in there too. I think this is the guy. Is that somebody else, Matreus? Do you know who I'm talking about, or are you just assuming? I mean, this guy's style is pretty similar in the inked version. I've definitely seen some of the stuff that looks cyberpunk. Like, or not cyberpunk. I don't know what I'd call this. I guess it's kind of cyberpunk. It's my sort of aesthetic. Let me bring this up and show an example of what I'm talking about here. Grab that link, open up Opera. Go here. Let me just make sure this is completely safe for work. It is. So like this picture, I know I've seen this one before a couple of times. This sort of like really detailed tech integrated with people, and like these screens like lifted up on arms and things. I love this kind of thing. Like these things at the edges here that look almost satellite-like. You're definitely gonna see more of this kind of thing in like future art from my channel as well. I don't build it into my character too much because I don't want my character to feel like really robot-y. Originally I considered it because I love the look of this thing, but when I start actually having like backgrounds done customized for me, whether I do them or other people do, and like there's other lore or different variants of my character, or maybe some different outfits I have, you'll see some stuff like this because I love it. Let me see. Void says, I beat up my nerves and I've now officially posted my art. You want me to look at it on stream, Void, or check it out afterward? Because usually I'd check it out after. You think you know his name, but it escapes you. Let me see. Let me see if I can find him. Oh! Muttmelon! Why is that so quiet? Muttmelon, thank you so much for subscribing for 34 months. Nearly at 3 years of solid subscription. That's awesome. Hold on, let me see if I can catch up a little bit here. Hey Muttmelon, Optima Prime. Yeah, how you doing? We're just having a bit of a rant stream today. I'm back from everything that had happened this week. Just sort of catching up with people. Let me have a sip of my water too. Yeah, I can't quite find... Patrick Vale seems to have done some of these, but I don't think that's who I was thinking of. Yeah, I can't find the artist I was looking for. Floofer says, we'll be the ones whispering, remember thou art mortal, like they did to Roman generals during their triumviral parades. when you get like 2K watching. Yeah, I mean, I don't think... I'll always need people giving me reality check slaps if everything ever happens. I don't think 2K viewers is gonna cause that for me, just because like my first real introduction to Twitch was being a moderator for a channel that always had over 2,000 viewers at the time anyway. So I was always watching and moderating chat for that many people. And the streamer didn't actually do any sort of like power moves because the mods were all there to do it. So I didn't let that power go to my head at all. And I was active in the community and things like that. So I think I'd actually, like, if we suddenly started having 2,000 people here every single stream, I think I'd actually be able to manage it. I have OBS trying to advertise things to me while I'm live. Or it says get a robot tentacle wiki. There might be one of those in the future, Haruru, but that's all I'll say. And not necessarily for me. Void says you can if you want. I might. It says I'm looking at it right now. Void, I'll let you know what I think. My nerves might beat me up though. Okay, maybe I'll look at it off stream then, Void. And in future ones, maybe on stream. That way there's less pressure. Mountain says, heyo, I'm into gym now. Some light workout today. Hope you're feeling all right. Thank you. I'm managing. I'm managing to keep going, and I think that's the best at this point. Man, hold on. There's a couple of things that have come up. Been like talking about recently. So one thing, I just mentioned mods. I will be looking for a couple of new mods at the start of this next year. And if there are any regulars in my chat who I've known for a little while, that like is intriguing to you in any way, let me know. You don't have to let me know here. You could let me know in a whisper or a DM or on Discord or whatever. Not everybody who shows interest would become a mod necessarily, but like, just, you know, as the channel is growing, I have to consider growing the number of mods too. And we did have a lot of times during the the Elden Ring. For some reason, Elden Ring specifically. Elden Ring brought in a lot of lovely new viewers. Elden Ring also brought in a lot of strange folks who needed moderating. And during the entirety of me playing Elden Ring, I had to I had to do all the mod actions for that one. So I'm trying to bring in a couple of new mods so that I have to disturb stream a little less. I've seen some scary things recently. Like there's a couple other streamers that I follow who aren't that much bigger than me, who have had people who have come in and they've been a problem in chat, and the streamer had to like interrupt the stream to get rid of them, and then the person like realized the streamer had to do that, and so they like make multiple more accounts to ban evade and come back, and they like keep interrupting stream, and it just becomes a whole thing that makes it unpleasant for everybody else watching. So I'm trying to take preventative action a little bit and bring in a couple more mods. Most of the time we don't need anything done on this channel, but some preventative action ahead of time just in case we get people like that is nice to consider. So I'll be looking to bring on a couple more, probably not too many, but a few regulars who watch is probably what I'm going to be looking for. So if you do have any interest, let me know. Hey Rambo, how's it going? Never mod you, Matreus. Well, I'm never gonna mod anybody who doesn't want to be modded. Just don't message me being like, I'm interested, if you don't want to be modded. Let's see. Let me scroll up a little. Nidhogg says, I fear getting 2,000 viewers. How do I talk to all those people? You get used to it. I found like 2,000 is a bit fast in chat. You're not going to be able to talk to everybody. But I found that like in those situations, you can you can still read enough of what people are saying that you're not going to catch everything from everybody, but you're still going to have like regular ongoing things with like regular chatters who you have back and forths with, and you know their names, and you're like, you have inside jokes with them, and they're like a part of your streaming community. 2,000 is pretty controllable that way. Under 2,000, like 1 to 1.5 is a lot more controllable that way, and then under 1,000 viewers in general, you can really do that. But it's not as crazy as you'd think, because not all 2,000 people are typing at once. Now, when you start to get up to like 8 to 10,000 viewers, like Iron Mouse is at, your chat's just flying by. You might catch the initial, like the occasional comment, but usually you're not going to catch who said it, right? Like, as something's zooming by, your peripherals might catch the word, like the words "never mod me," like Matreus just said, but they're probably not going to catch, oh, Matreus said "never mod me." So unless you actually like pause your chat, you're probably not going to see it. But let's be real, most people are not at a risk of ever getting up to 8 to 10,000 viewers. It's around those sizes that like the way your stream works really has to be different, and you treat chat as more of a blob, more of an entity. You're talking to all the chat at once rather than having individual interactions with people by their names, other than like VIPs, mods, and other streamers who come in. You're mostly just gonna talk to chat as a blob, which is not like my preferred way, but if I make this into a career and I get that big, we'll still find ways to make it we'll still find ways to get all that interaction in. Some of it may shift off to things like Discord a little bit more to get one-on-ones and stuff. Melon says Matreus will DM you to declare that he isn't interested, just in case you missed the memo. Okay, that's fair. Matreus is going to send me a lengthy DM describing that he does not want to be a mod. How's everyone's week going? My week has been pretty rough, unfortunately, Josh, but I hope the holidays have been good for a lot of people. And we have had some negative news here on the stream recently, but we're coming back from it. Demote me, daddy. Thank you for the demote me, daddy, Rambo. Next year, Matreus becomes mod. Oh no. Talsit, hello, welcome. How you doing today? Good to see you. We're just having our I'm back stream. We have talked for almost 3 hours so far. I don't know if there's going to be anything besides, like, I don't know if we're getting into a game or not, but we're just, we're coming back from the bad news of the week. I'm here again officially, and we're going to have our big stream. It's probably going to be a little less big and intense than it was going to be, but we're still going to have our big stream on Sunday, all right? Because at the end of every year, I like to look back on what that year brought. And 2023 has been a really big one in terms of the channel. So this Sunday, we're going to do a lot of cool things. We're going to look back at 2023, but we're also going to look back at the entirety of like my streaming journey. We're going to look back at some of the clips of growth, some of the people we met. I'm going to talk about some people who have made some pretty big differences in my life in 2023. We're going to go through the Twitch 2023 recap, which is pretty cool because I did an official one for everybody's channels. So I'll show you guys that stuff. I'm going to get gushy. I'll probably get emotional. I might even end up crying. I'm going to try not to, but I might. Because it's been an emotional time and big year. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about what I want to do going forward into 2024. So, and because it's going to turn into New Year's partway through us streaming on the 31st, we're going to do the ball drop. I'm in Eastern Standard Time, so that means I share the same time zone with New York. Which does the fancy Times Square ball drop when it turns into the new year. So I'm gonna pull that live video footage up when it's about to become the new year, and we're gonna do the countdown. We're gonna have the New Year countdown and say Happy New Year's together. You know, some of you who live in different parts of the world will already be in 2024 at that point, and some people won't see it again. Won't see it for another few hours at that point. But we'll do the EST version. Let's see. Muttmelon says, okay, traveling back will lurk. Thank you for the lurk, Muttmelon. Notice me, Wiki. Alright, Rambo, you've been noticed. Craftberries, welcome. Good to see you. Hello. It says I'll have to start highlighting my messages and use big emojis and such to get my messages out there. I notice all of you guys right now. I don't think it's a problem we're gonna encounter for quite some time. You know, the idea of even being a Twitch partner is pretty distant, and that one requires an average of at least 70 viewers. Floofer says he'll send a form with a statement of intent to not become a mod in Triplicate and Notarized. Well, at this point, I'm probably going to end up modding Matreus. Everybody wants Matreus to be a mod so badly, it seems. Craftery says, you doing okay? I'm doing okay. I would say so, yes. I'm managing and I'm moving forward. And that's, I think this stream has been a pretty good way of kind of like getting the gears to turn again. Booting myself back up after like days of not really talking to anybody. And I wanted to have one of those before we do our 2023 end of the year one, because that one's going to be a little bit more high energy. Maybe not as much as it was going to be because of everything else that's happened this week, but we'll have a good one. Can your model cry? No. I mean, it can do this. It can do this, and it can have like, you know, I got a tear at the edge of my eye. You see that? There's actually technically one at the edge of both eyes, but the other eye is blocked by a hair. But this is about the most it can get to. Let's see. How many hours on everyone's Twitch recap? You'll have to wait to see mine until Sunday. Rambo has over 10k. Talsit says, screw those downstate clowns. Oh, everybody who's not gonna see. Are you also Eastern Standard Time then, Talsit? Is that what you're telling me? Leo says, might just need to happen. Yeah, we got a hashtag make Matreus mod, make Matt mod. Now, you hearing this, Matreus? You shot yourself in the foot by saying don't mod me. Now it's a whole thing. You know how inside jokes happen on this channel. You're upstate New York, Talsit? Oh, nice. I go to upstate New York sometimes. I've been in Syracuse, Binghamton, Utica. Where did I go recently? Some little place that didn't even have Uber operating there. Yeah. Haven't quite been all the way to Buffalo though. And New York City a couple times, of course, but that's not upstate. Yeah. Thank you, Josh. I'm not a cat boy though, okay? Yeah, for 100. Cheap AF. Yeah, well, there's a different Nya redeem in here that's a little more expensive. Little steps, brother. Yeah, I'm doing my best, Craft. I'm really grateful for the community for being so supportive during this. And honestly, streaming and keeping myself busy with this, like coming on and being able to chat to you guys, and like tonight is rant about whatever, because tonight's just like comeback and mental health night, but to be able to rant about whatever, to be able to just have chats, to be able to sit down and play games with you guys or do special events, just be live and not thinking about some of the other like rough things in my life really kind of like helps me out a lot. It's great on the mental health. It helps me process through things. It helps me normalize like where I'm at. So it's been good, Nya. Oh no, I see you redeemed now there, Floofers, Nya. I'm gonna take a sip of water, Nya. Craftfree says lies, Nya. Hey, listen, you can see the human ears right underneath my hair there, Nya. Not the ASMR mode, Rambo, Nya. It's just you don't need a double down on it, Nya. This is just even worse. Yeah. You're trying to show Josh what's changed since he was here last. Yeah. Okay, well, the ears on the hood are just hood ears. They're not my ears, okay? Yeah. Look, human ears. Those ones are just part of the hood. They come off when the hood comes off. Just cause I might have paw prints on my gloves doesn't mean I'm a cat boy, alright? Also, I have not shown off the Tamagotchi for a little while, if we're gonna be zoomed into this location anyway. Look at the Tamagotchi. Nya. Any of you guys have Tamagotchis, Nya? I know, I missed a Nya. I'm getting back into it now, Nya. Crotch zoom in, it's blocked by chat, Nya. You guys are censoring me, Nya. You remember him, Nya? The Squiddy Cat? Yeah, he's still very much part of a channel, Nya. Still the mascot, Nya. I realized I read crotch zoom in, but I didn't actually allow it through auto mod, Nya, so I fixed that now. Rambo. Nya. Lufer says I had a dream about Tamagotchi last night, Nya. Oh, did you? What sort of Tamagotchi, Nya? Alright, your Nya has run out now. I'm gonna stop saying it. A few more seconds on your ASMR. Not a cat boy, alright? Get that out of my face. What, the Tamagotchi? Or the other thing? Talsit. Had to show off the physics down there, you know? Rambo says, always a pleasure being handled by you personally. Come on. Stop saying what? Josh, are you trying to get a free that word out of me? Certainly you wouldn't be trying to betray me already. Yeah. Ears, sea cab. Nope, nope, nope. Human ears. Look at this. Hey, human. Those are just part of the hood. You've seen nothing, Crafteries. You've seen nothing. Also, did you see the Tamagotchi though? Did you see the Tamagotchi? You see the Tamagotchi? Look at that. Look at my Tamagotchi physics. You see that? Don't pay attention to the cat paw on the glove over there. I'm trying to show off the Tamagotchi, but a Squiddy Cat Tamagotchi. Catboy is not confirmed, Rambo. Loafers! The hood just came off. And we're gonna have to have this talk on 2023 too, because you know what? 2023 was the birth of this whole Catboy conspiracy that you guys had. We never had this with my previous model. I think it really started to be something you doubled down on during the Resident Evil 4 playthrough. That's when people started doing it. Back, it was Jung-Ji Kim. Hold on. Or that would be Kim Jong-un. Is that who you're talking about? Yeah, you're right. This is the person. Atreus. This is the one I was looking for. They do cool art too. Yeah, some of that's quite cool. We need the flipping nose. We'll definitely watch the flippy nose clip, I think, Matreus, on the 2023 review. I don't know if it was taken during 2023. Let me see. Go back to my channel here. Channel. Let's see. Videos, clips, all-time tops. Flippy Nose has got to be in here somewhere, right? Yeah, nose wiggle. It says last year. Yeah, but when last year? Let's see. It's not going to give me specifically. Yeah, hard to say, but we'll show it. Catboy. No. Floofers is probably since Leon can have cat ears. Is Nid here, by the way? Is Nid here? Probably still here, Nid. Craffery says toe beans and cat ears, definitely Catboy. Hey, hey. Mr. Nidhogg, okay? And Hunter, too. It did say he was lurking, so I imagine he's here or there. Oh, I see. We're having a conversation in my general chat on Discord, being like, oh, Ricky must have only ever seen Devil May Cry 2 Dante. Because he had, like, he's saying he was going for a hair that looked like Dante in this game. I forget which game it was. And they were like, that was just the Devil May Cry 2 one, and that explains why he, like, doesn't like Dante, and he said, oh, Dante must be, and I don't like Dante because he's too much like Leon. You got that so wrong, Nid. I like Leon. I don't like Dante because it seems like they tried to go for a Leon but missed the mark, and he sounds really lame. And also, DMC2 is probably the Dante I've seen the least of. Like, I've seen a bit of DMC1, and I have seen some of, like, the newer... What was the newest one? It was, like, 5, I think? That had, like, the really nice graphics, because it was like, PlayStation 5 or something like that. No, I like Leon... I don't have an issue with Dante because of his hair in the second game. I just have an issue with Dante because everything I've seen of him seems obnoxious AF. But to be completely fair about the situation, I've always said that's not going to stop me from playing the game, because since I haven't played the games, I feel like I might have just seen things out of context that made it not seem as cool. And me not having Dante's character development and stuff like that, I owe him the chance to be a good character before I'm like, he's a bad one. It's just my current perception of him, it's not too great. I do plan on playing the DMC games, and hopefully my perception of him will change a little during that, because if it doesn't, well, I'm probably not going to play the DMC games for too long, since he's the main character of all of them, except maybe, like, the most recent. Or I think they switched to Nero or something. I think that was his name. Nid says... Oh, I actually read that from Leo, actually. Okay, so here's a few other things I want to mention, alright? One activity I thought we were gonna do tonight, and maybe we still will, but I don't plan on going too long tonight, was that I wanted to come up with some... Pretty soon, the Punishment Wheel is coming back to the channel, okay? We've done Punishment Wheel a couple times in the past. I think the most recent time we did it... Did we have it on Jump King? I'm not sure if we had it on Jump King. I know we had it on Puyo Puyo Tetris when we had a competitive collaboration on that. Maybe Jump King had it also. No, I think that was just Spicy Noodles. So it's just Puyo Puyo. So, at some point, early on in this next year, an early 2024 activity, we are going to be having another stream that'll be some sort of challenge for me, or a competition, or something like that, that the Punishment Wheel is gonna get broken out for. And I want to take some time with you guys at some point before that happens to come up with some punishments that you would like to see me do. I've already got some that will go on there that I'm not going to tell you guys about until you see it. But there might be some that you guys are like, ooh, I've seen streamers put this on punishment wheel. I thought it was funny. So I want you to do it too. And we might add them on there. It says, sorry about that. I had to get my sister Binky. She throws them all over the place. So it's like trying to find the Chaos Emeralds. See, stuff about DMC what I missed. You're too late. You're too late, Ned. I already had my rant. But the TLDR about it is that you were a bit off on my reasons for not liking Dante, or for the hair assumption thing that I saw you talking about in Discord. Because most of my Dante visibility that I've seen before has been in Devil May Cry 1 or 5. And a little bit of that one where they made him have brown hair, which is called, that's DMC Devil May Cry. That's the gist. But anyway, punishment wheel coming soon. So pretty soon we'll have a time on stream where we have a bunch of people in here. We sit down, I'll open up a wheel. Let me see if I can pull one up as an example now and start filling it out. So let's see, let's see, Wheel of Names. This is one of the popular ones. Is this the picker wheel? Okay, I think that's the one I usually see people use. Or this one. Okay, so stuff like this, right? So one of the could be like, eat a hot chip, bean boozled, do 10 push-ups, post Twitter, post tweet chosen by chat, this sort of thing. Like we'll get together some long list of punishments and put them on some punishment wheel like this, and spin it every time I fail a challenge. If it's a single player thing that I'm doing, if it's like try not to laugh, or it's some video game challenge or something that's single player, if it's just me, then I'll spin every time I fail. If it's a competition that we use this on next, it's probably gonna be like loser spins it, like the person who did worse spins it every round or something like that. But this is coming back because this has been really fun in the past, and there's a lot more interesting potential with it. So I want you guys to think a little bit maybe on what you might want to see in terms of punishment for me, because we're gonna do something like that in early 2024, and if you guys don't choose any, then the punishments are only gonna be stuff I choose, and I might not push it as far as you guys might. I might be like, ugh, I wouldn't want to do this thing, but you guys are like, no, you gotta do this for the content, and then I'd put it on there. But if you guys aren't saying you gotta do this for the content, I might just, like, you know, pass by stuff like that if I'm doing it. So you gotta get clever. And we'll have some portion on a stream pretty soon, I think, that we dedicate to that, so we can put that wheel together. I don't want to do too much like planning for next year's stuff before we actually have our end of the year celebration on Sunday. Fluffer says play Coffin of Andy and Lele for that ending. Is that just a specific ending, Floofers? I don't even know how bad that game is. I'm kind of out of the loop on that. I didn't realize there was just one ending that was like the problematic one. I thought the whole game was a little bit like that, but yeah, I mean, who knows? There could be a lot of things on there. I want to get into, like, the interesting thing about my stream, all right? Anybody who's been here for a while has noticed this. and you can look at my tags and see that I've got both chaotic and cozy on there. A lot of times we're pretty chill. We're playing like lo-fi, we're just having chill vibes, but we can also like turn on the gremlin energy sometimes. We even had some odd clips last stream when we were playing with just some of the new filters that have been added onto VTube Studio. But in certain games we've played, especially like competitive ones, or when we get into like weird react things, or have like punishment wheels or things, the gremlin energy turns on a little bit more. And I feel like we haven't delved into that too much recently. It's been here or there. Some of it's come out more when playing with Pio. I had a little bit of it when I was Buff Ricky on Pio's stream and things like that. But I'm kind of curious what it would be like these days, because we have had chaotic streams in the past. The 2B cosplay stream was one of those. We had streams where we were attaching like a million live 2D objects to me and things like that. And I don't know. I change constantly, I feel. Whenever I look back at really old clips of me, like, it's interesting to compare that old Ricky to the current Ricky, because that's just how people are. Time passes and I'm getting more experience streaming, and there's more stuff I'm experimenting with, and I'm just always trying to like change myself as a person, hopefully always for the better. That's the goal. So it's interesting to go back and do something that I haven't delved into for a while again and see what it looks like these days. So I want to get a couple of chaotic streams coming in too. We've had plenty of like little bits of chaos. There were certainly a few times with it during Elden Ring, and the Dark Souls 3 randomizer got pretty chaotic a couple of times. But I want to have some events that really like touch on that side of things again and see how it looks these days. Like, what's chaotic Ricky at? What's he doing? So expect some of that in 2024, and the punishment wheels are definitely going to factor in. But I think that's about as far as I want to get into that particular topic before we actually get into our 2023 review stream, because we will be using part of that stream to look forward at some stuff we're going to be doing during 2024, and I don't want to talk about it all now. So I actually might call it here soon. If I'm gonna be honest, because this is my first stream this week since the bad news, and we took some time off. I didn't do anything on Wednesday content creation wise, even off stream I didn't, because I just needed that as a break. And the Thursday stream, we moved off of Thursday onto today. Today's stream, the major point of it was to say, hey, I'm back, hey, I'm doing okay, to get the gears moving again with a little like back and forward talk with you guys. We had some interesting conversations here, and to make sure that my first stream back wasn't that 2023 review, because I wanted to get things moving again before that and let you guys have a little bit of reassurance that I'm doing all right. I'm moving myself forward, and I appreciate you guys for being here as a support for me as well. And a lot of people have, even off stream, people have DM'd me and things like that in support, and I appreciate that. I'm doing my best, and I think you guys are too, so thank you. I'm not going to bring this into a full 4-hour stream, because since I have gone kind of a trying week this week without streaming, I think that I've kind of burnt myself out a little bit. You know, I can't go too hard on my first night back doing it. But we will be back on Sunday, day after tomorrow, with a bigger stream, and we're gonna go over all that 2023 stuff. So if you guys can show up on that one, that would be lovely. And just so you know, there's a very short time to jump back into the Minecraft server and do anything that you would like to do, because sometime probably tomorrow night I'm gonna kick everybody out of the whitelist on the holiday Minecraft server, and we're gonna say goodbye to it on the 2023 review stream, so nobody's gonna be able to get back into it anymore at some time tomorrow night, tomorrow evening. So if there's anything left that you want to do in there, go do it. Put your final touches on it. But we're gonna say goodbye to it. And in 2024, we're gonna have a brand new server that's going to last more long term, whereas this one was just a December holiday server. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap stream up here, and I think I might not even raid anybody tonight. We could. Sometimes I like to just end it. But you know what? I'll send a raid to Lord Ancalagon. Alright? Because Lord Ancalagon is playing Batman Arkham Origins. I've referenced the Arkham games a few times recently. And Ancalagon has managed to raid me multiple times, but usually ends before I do. And since we're ending earlier tonight, we have the opportunity to send the love over there, so I'll do a raid. And let's spread the love. If you can copy one of those commands that Leo just used, here, I'll put them out again. This is the raid message. Or if you have a sub in the channel, here's the sub raid message. Hanyo, yeah, you did come in at the end. I kind of, you know, we had ranting all stream. We talked for over 3 hours. Was it? Yep, over 3 hours. And it's been a really rough week. I don't know if you were in the server and stuff and saw what happened, like my news, Hanya. But this was sort of my stream just to say I'm back, just to get the gears moving again and talk to everybody and officially return. But Sunday we're gonna do our big like 2023 review stream. And if you show up that night, Hanya, we'll be around for longer. It is good to see you. I hope you're doing well, Hanya. Thank you, Josh, for being here. I hope you had a good time while you were here. And everybody, thank you for being so supportive this week with everything that's been going on. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you on Sunday for the bigger stream. This was just sort of the warm-up, but the 2023 review, it would be awesome to share it with you guys. See you later. Take care, and go spread the love. Bye-bye, all. Peace.
Rocksteady took a turn nobody saw coming. Oh! Well, hold on. Ricky! Hey, that was my new raid song, by the way. Hello!